dear beloved friend, as the first light of morning gently kisses the horizon, and the soft golden hush of dawn settles over the sleeping world, I greet you in this sacred stillness. This is the hour when the noise of yesterday fades, and the demands of today have not yet arrived. It is here, in this fragile moment before the world fully awakens, that something holy stirs within the soul. The air feels thinner somehow, more reverent. The quiet is not empty, it is full of invitation. Perhaps as you listen, your heart is carrying more than it can hold. Maybe you woke today beneath the weight of something invisible to others, but heavy to you. Fear, regret, loneliness, or an ache that has not eased with time. Maybe there was a night not long ago when you laid awake, staring into the dark, praying that morning would bring answers, or peace, or simply the strength to try again. Perhaps you have been strong for too long. You have smiled when you felt like crying, kept moving when you desperately wanted to stop. And though your life continues, work, family, responsibilities, there is a quiet desperation underneath, a silent scream for relief that no one else hears. I think of a woman I once knew who carried sorrow so deeply it shaped the way she walked. Her husband had passed unexpectedly, and with him, so had her sense of direction. Every morning she dressed, prepared coffee for one instead of two, and stared out the same kitchen window wondering why the world kept spinning when hers had stopped. She was not bitter, just broken. Her prayers had gone quiet, not because she no longer believed, because she no longer knew what to say. Yet each morning, as sunlight touched her windowsill, she still whispered, "I am still here." It was not a grand declaration of faith. It was a breath, a fragile flicker of hope. And that was enough for God to begin again. You may not carry grief like hers, but you know the feeling of holding on by a thread. You have lived the tension between believing in God and wondering where He is. You have tried to be brave in the face of uncertainty, even when everything in you wanted to run or hide. And now, here you are, in the quiet hours of a brand new day, searching for something steady. This is where the journey begins, not with certainty, not with perfect strength, but with honesty. You do not need to have the right words or even understand everything you feel. You simply need to come. There is no shame in your questions, no weakness in your awareness. This moment is not about pretending to be strong. It is about opening the door of your heart and inviting God into the space where you struggle. What you are about to step into is not just a prayer. It is a sacred conversation, a path, a deep and steady walk toward peace that was promised long before your storms ever began. Each word will be a light, a guide, a companion on the road from fear to trust, from burden to rest. You will not be asked to be someone you are not. You will not be rushed. Instead, you will be gently led back to the truth that you are not alone and never have been. There is power in faith, not because it removes the storm, but because it anchors you in the one who calms it. There is healing in prayer, not because it erases the past, but because it invites redemption into it. What we release in God's presence, He does not ignore. What we entrust to Him, He does not lose. So as the morning light expands across the sky, and you sit in this sacred pause before the day unfolds. I invite you to do something brave. Lay your fears down. Set aside your questions. Take a breath. And with the quiet confidence of one who is loved beyond measure, allow your heart to open. Let this be more than words you hear. Let it be the beginning of a sacred return, the return to peace, to trust, to a God who has been waiting for you in this very moment. Now, dear friend, let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you with a heart that feels heavy even before the day has begun. The sun is rising outside, but inside, it still feels dark. There is no reason I can give, no perfect way to explain it. I am just tired, not the kind of tired that sleep can fix, but the kind that settles into the soul, where the weight of yesterday presses against the hope for today. I woke up already feeling behind, already feeling unsure, already feeling like I am carrying more than I know how to handle. And before anything else begins, I just need to say that out loud to you. I need to admit it to the only one who fully sees me. I need to tell you the truth without softening it, without hiding behind polite prayers. This is me, exactly as I am. Right now, there are fears I can't shake, questions I can answer, and feelings I do not even understand. I carry invisible burdens, some that come from the past, some that I picked up yesterday, and some that I have been holding so long they have become a part of me. I smile through them. I keep moving. I do what needs to be done. But the weight does not lift. I know you know this already. I know you have watched every moment where I have hidden my behind responsibility. Every time I have chosen to be strong when all I wanted was to rest. But I want to stop pretending. I want to stop trying to manage what I was never meant to carry. And so this morning, before anything else enters in, I want to bring this heaviness to you. Father, sometimes I feel like I am walking through my days, holding my breath, waiting for the next thing to go wrong, waiting for the moment everything falls apart. I overthink. I replay conversations. I imagine outcomes that never come to pass. My mind becomes a battlefield, and peace feels like something I lost a long time ago. I long for calm. I long for clarity. But I have been leaning on my own strength for so long. It feels like I do not know how to let go. I do not even know what surrender looks like anymore. I have called it wisdom. I have called it being prepared. But deep down, I know I have just been afraid. I have been holding on because I have not fully trusted that you will catch me if I let go. And yet, here I am, in the soft silence of the morning, choosing something different. I do not have the strength to fix everything. I do not have the plan that makes it all better, but I have a whisper, a small flicker of hope that says maybe. Just maybe. You can meet me here. Maybe you can take this weight. Maybe you have been waiting for me to open my hands. I am afraid to do it. It feels like losing control, but if control only leads to more fear, then it is not worth keeping. So I begin here not with confidence, not with understanding, but with honesty. I miss peace. I miss waking up without a knot in my stomach. I miss breathing without a sense of pressure in my chest. I miss believing that today could actually be good, I do not want to just survive my life anymore. I want to live it. I want to feel joy again. I want to laugh without the voice in my head asking how long it will last. I want to stop assuming the worst. I want to stop treating hope like a risk I can afford. I want to stop giving fear the final word in every decision. I want to wake up with trust in my heart and rest in my bones. I want to rise with grace, not guilt. So I bring all of this to you. I bring my mess. I bring my doubt. I bring the part of me that wants to believe, but does not know how. I do not need to be fixed in this moment. I just need to be held. I need to feel like I am not doing this alone. I need to be reminded that my pain does not disqualify me from your presence. That I do not have to wait until I have it all together before I come to you. You did not ask for perfection. You asked for surrender. And this, right now, is all I have to give. It is not pretty. It is not polished, but it is real. It is mine. It is the truth of where I am, and I offer it to you. Please meet me here, in this in-between, not quite broken, but not yet whole, not quite hopeless, but not yet bold. Meet me in the middle space, where the light is only just beginning to break through. Meet me in this heaviness that I no longer want to carry alone. You say that your burden is light. You say that you give rest to the weary. I want to believe that. I want to know what that feels like, not just in theory, but in my body, in my breath, in my thoughts that race when the world is quiet. Help me begin again, not by doing more or trying harder, but by resting deeper. Help me wake up differently, not because my circumstances have changed, but because my heart has. Let this be the day I stop measuring my worth by my performance. Let this be the day I stop hiding my need. Let this be the day I stop assuming you are disappointed with me. I do not want to live with that lie anymore. I want to wake up knowing that I am loved, that I am seen, that I am safe to be fragile in the presence of a God who never asked me to be perfect. So here I am. It is morning. The world is quiet. And I am letting you in. Not into the version of me I show to others, but the real me. The one who is afraid. The one who is tired. The one who is trying. I do not know what the rest of the day will bring. But I know that right now, in this breath, in this prayer, you are near. And maybe that is where healing begins, not with answers, but with nearness, not with resolution, but with presence, not with a change in my situation, but with a shift in my soul. If this is the first step, let it be a faithful one. If this is the beginning of a new way, let it be full of grace. I am ready to be honest. I am ready to be open. I am ready to walk this path with you. Lord, it is hard to find the words today. My heart feels like it wants to speak, but my voice does not follow. I sit with emotions I cannot name and weight I cannot explain. I try to pray, but even the sentences feel too heavy, too tangled. There is something inside me trying to reach you, but the H is louder than the language. I wish I could be eloquent. I wish I could say exactly what I need, exactly what I feel. But all I have are fragments, pieces of fear, pieces of sadness, pieces of longing. And still, I believe you hear the silent cry. I believe you are present, even in my quiet confusion. You were there with me in the pause between thoughts, in the stillness when nothing made sense. You were there when I sat in the shower with the water running, just to drown out the noise in my mind. You were there when the tears came for no reason and every reason all at once. You were there when I said nothing, but hoped you were listening anyway. You were there when I did not even know what to ask for. You heard the whisper under the sigh. You saw the tightening in my chest and the tension I carried in my shoulders. You understood the sadness that lingered behind my smile. And I believe you still do. Sometimes the pain is too deep for words, and sometimes the fear is too old for logic. I can trace the origin of some of it, moments that hurt me, memories I wish I could erase, but other times it just feels like a fog that rolled in quietly and never left. It moves through my days, cloaking joy, shadowing hope. I keep going. I keep doing what is expected. But inside, I feel like I am holding a scream I have never released. And the longer I hold it, the more it wears me down. I need to know that you see this version of me too, the silent, uncertain one. The version that does not know how to be brave, how to be strong, how to hold it all together. I need to believe that even when I can't speak, you still understand the language of my heart. God, there are moments when I feel like I am drowning beneath the surface of my own life. On the outside, I am composed, I am reliable. But inside, I feel like I am gasping for air. I do not want to live this way, silently aching while pretending to be okay. I do not want to carry this ache alone. I do not want to keep masking the weight I was never meant to bear. I am tired of being the strong one. I am tired of being the one who always says, I am fine, even when my soul is fraying at the edges. I do not want to be fine. I want to be whole. I want to be honest. And if honesty means falling apart in front of you, then so be it. Because I trust you to hold what breaks in me. There are nights when the fear grows loud, when my thoughts spiral, and I rehearse every worst-case scenario without meaning to. I lie awake wondering if I will make it through the week, if I will lose someone else, if the things I love will slip away. I try to tell myself to stop, to calm down, to just breathe. But the fear does not listen. It has a voice of its own, one that echoes in the quiet and stirs up storms even when the sky is clear. I have spent so long trying to fight it on my own. I have tried logic, distraction, even silence, but none of them soothe the ache. None of them bring rest. Only your presence does. So I turn to you not because I have a powerful prayer to offer, because I know you hear even the powerless ones. I need you to step into this silence, God, not with noise, but with nearness. I do not need a loud answer. I do not need lightning from the sky. I need the quiet comfort that comes from knowing you are here. I need to feel your presence wrap around my soul like a blanket on a cold morning. I need to know that I can fall apart in your hands and not be abandoned. I need to trust that you are not asking me to fix it before I come to you. I am already here, broken and quiet, and I believe that is enough for you to begin. You do not wait for my words to be perfect. You do not require explanations before you extend compassion. You come close. Even when I do not know how to come to you, you meet me in the middle of my weakness. Some wounds are not loud. They do not scream. They do not bleed where others can see. They live quietly in the background, shaping how I think, how I love, how I protect myself. And yet you see them. You name them. You never rush them. You sit with me in the discomfort and teach me how to breathe again. You are patient with the part of me that does not want to open up. You are gentle with the places where I flinch. You do not force healing. You do not demand strength. You invite me into rest, and rest is what I need most right now, not productivity. Not solutions. Just rest. Just the grace to not have to be okay before I receive your peace. So I sit in this moment, God, and I give you the silence. I give you the pain I cannot speak, the fears I cannot name, the doubts I cannot explain. I place them in your hands not because I understand them, but because I can't carry them anymore. I trust you with what I do not yet have the words for. I trust that you hear me even when I do not hear myself clearly. I trust that you are not asking for perfect language, just an open heart. And that I can offer. A heart that wants to believe. A heart that is tired of hiding. A heart that needs healing in the quiet. A heart that knows you are near, even when my voice is not. You are not afraid of my silence. You are not offended by my brokenness. You are not distant because I do not know how to pray perfectly. You are near to the lowly. You draw close to the crushed in spirit. You collect the tears that never fall. And you understand the cries that never make a sound. And that truth is my anchor when nothing else makes sense. I hold on to it now. I rest in it. I let it be enough. If all I have today is the breath in my chest and the H in my soul, then I give them both to you. Receive them. Receive me. Stay with me in the silence and teach me how to hear again, not just with my ears, but with my spirit. Let your presence speak what I cannot. Let your peace settle where my words fall short. Let this be the beginning of healing I never saw coming, the kind that starts in the quiet, where only you can hear. Father, as I sit in the quiet where words have failed and silence has spoken deeper than I expected, something stirs gently within me. It is not loud, not sudden, but like the memory of something long forgotten. It feels like the whisper of a truth that once lived in my bones, but was buried under the weight of too many weary days. I do not feel whole, but I feel held. I do not feel certain, but I feel noticed. In the space where I gave you nothing but my H, you gave me comfort without condition. And now, slowly, I find myself remembering what I had forgotten, that you prepare a table for me. Even here, even now, Lord, I have been living like I am empty. I have walked through life clutching what I have outgrown, grasping for scraps of security, holding tightly to things that once sustained me, but no longer do. I have carried fears like old bags, packed with memories, regrets, and shadows of what once was. I have told myself to be content with barely enough, afraid to believe there might be more. And all the while, You have been setting a table rich with grace, overflowing with peace, layered with goodness. I was too busy, too guarded, or too afraid to receive. You offer me rest, but I keep holding on to my restlessness. You pour out joy, but I keep nursing sorrow. You give me hope, but I cling to my old disappointments, turning them over in my hands like broken relics. It is as if I have grown more familiar with hunger than with fullness, more acquainted with longing than with being satisfied. But this morning, you remind me of the table, not just a place to eat, but a place to belong, not just provision, but invitation, not just survival, but abundance. You are not rationing grace. You are not measuring kindness. You have prepared more than enough. God, why is it so hard for me to receive? Why is it easier to believe I must earn my place at your table, rather than take the seat you have already saved for me? I have spent so much energy trying to prove I am worthy, trying to clean myself up before I sit down, trying to fix myself before I feast. But that is not your way. Your table is not for the perfect. It is for the weary, the wandering, the ones still limping from the night before. Your table is not hidden behind achievement. It is spread wide in the presence of everything that tried to break me. It stands in the middle of my wilderness and calls me to sit down anyway. So here I am, hands still trembling from the burdens I have carried, heart still learning how to trust again. I see the bread of peace, the wine of joy, the fruit of patience, the overflowing pitcher of mercy. And I know I have done nothing to deserve it, but you do not ask me to deserve. You ask me to come. You ask me to sit. You ask me to open my hands and receive what you have been offering all along. I have been so focused on the pain behind me and the pressure ahead that I missed the feast right in front of me. I have been hungry, but afraid to taste. I have been thirsty, but hesitant to drink. Forgive me, Lord, for how easily I forget your goodness. Even now, I feel the resistance inside me, the part of me that doubts, that hesitates, that questions whether this grace is really for me. But I choose to believe again. I choose to eat the bread you have broken for me. I choose to drink from the cup that overflows. I choose to receive what I cannot earn. I choose to sit, not as a stranger sneaking in, but as a child coming home. You are not merely giving me what I need to get by. You are giving me more than enough to begin again, to be restored, to be nourished where I thought I would stay empty forever. God, there have been so many mornings where I woke up in survival mode. Just get through the day. Just make it until night. Just pretend I am okay. But you are replacing that mentality with something deeper. You are teaching me how to live, not just how to endure. You are showing me that I was made for more than scraping by spiritually. I was made for fullness. I was made for joy. I was made for communion with you, not just crisis-driven desperation. And that changes everything. It reframes the way I see today. It shifts how I carry myself. It reminds me that I am not a beggar at your gate. I am a guest at your table. The wilderness has taught me to expect less. But you are reteaching my heart to hope again. You are reawakening the courage to believe that beauty still waits, that provision still comes, that peace is not just a future promise, but a present reality. I do not have to live from fear of not enough. You are enough. You have always been, and even when my heart wandered, even when my mind raced, even when I filled my hands with lesser things, you never stopped preparing a place for me. You never stopped inviting me closer. This morning, I release the rusted bowl of the past. I stop clinging to what once fed me, but now only hinders me. I loosen my grip on familiarity that no longer brings comfort. I lift my eyes from the ground of survival to the table of abundance. I do not know what today holds. I do not know what will be required of me, what challenges may rise, what voices may tempt me to fear again. But I will return to this truth. You have made room for me. You have not forgotten me. You are not just enough for the journey, you are the feast along the way. Father, let this day begin with open hands. Let my spirit rise not out of obligation, but out of delight. Let my thoughts be guided not by anxiety, but by awareness of your goodness. Let the things I have been chasing fall away in the light of what you freely give. Let the hunger that gnawed at my heart be stilled, not by distractions, but by presence. Your presence. Let me return to the table whenever I start to forget. Let me taste again the grace that still satisfies. Let my heart be full, not because everything is perfect, but because you are near. Because you are faithful. Because you never stop preparing a place for me, even when I am slow to come. So I come now, not with answers, not with a plan, but with a longing to be filled again. I come as I am quiet, humbled, grateful, and I choose to remain here a little longer, in the safety of your presence, where my emptiness turns into fullness and my restlessness is met with peace. Father, as I sit here remembering the table you have prepared, something deeper begins to stir. I see now how often I have come to your presence with arms full of things I did not even realize I was carrying. Before I can truly receive what you have laid before me, I feel you gently pointing to the weight I have kept tucked away, hidden beneath the layers of my routine. My thoughts, my unspoken assumptions. I have been moving through my days with silent burdens that have no name, but every impact. They have shaped how I breathe, how I think, how I trust. And now, you are inviting me to name them, not to shame me, but to free me. God, I did not know how much I carried until I tried to sit still. The pressure that clenched my jaw, the tension resting in my shoulders, the tightness in my chest when I paused too long. It is as if my body knew before my words could catch up. There are thoughts I have rehearsed so many times. They no longer feel like thoughts. They feel like truths. Quiet, persistent statements that whisper, "You are not doing enough," or "You are too late," or "You will lose it all if you stop trying." I never stopped to question them. I just let them stay. But now, in your presence, they feel heavy, they feel false, and I am ready to lay them down. Lord, I carry the weight of expectations, some that others placed on me, and some I placed on myself. The need to be strong, the pressure to never disappoint, the fear of letting someone down. I have worn these like armor, believing they protected me, believing they made me worthy. But they have exhausted me. They have made joy feel distant and peace feel expensive. I have spent so much time trying to measure up that I never stopped to ask who I was measuring against. I forgot that you did not ask me to be flawless. You asked me to be faithful, and faithfulness begins with honesty. So I name it now: the fear of failure, the fear of being seen and still not being enough, the fear of disappointing the people I love, the fear of never healing fully, of always being almost. I name the comparison I entertain when I scroll, when I listen to others speak, when I look at my own reflection and wonder why do not look more like confidence or joy. I name the voice that says rest is laziness, that quiet is wasted, that slowing down is falling behind. I name the guilt I carry for things I can no longer change, words I did not say, moments I missed, decisions I made when I was only trying to survive. I name the shame that still knocks on the door sometimes, even though I know you have already forgiven me. I name the worry that hovers over my relationships, the overthinking, the analyzing, the fear that closeness will end in disappointment. I name the past that still lives in my present, the broken trust, the unspoken grief, the resentment I have hidden beneath politeness. I name the dread of tomorrow, the uncertainty that steals from today, the questions I hold back because I do not want to sound faithless. I name the belief that I have to be strong for everyone else, even when I feel weak for myself. I name it all, not because I want to dwell in it, but because I want to release it. And to release it, I must recognize it. God, this feels unfamiliar. To speak these things aloud, to stop pushing them down. But I trust you to hold my honesty with tenderness. I trust that you are not overwhelmed by what overwhelms me. I trust that you are not afraid of the mess I carry. You are the one who says, "Bring it to me." Not just the obvious things, but the subtle ones. Not just the loud cries, but the quiet habits of the heart. You are not asking me to pretend. You are asking me to bring every weight, no matter how small, and lay it before you like pieces of a puzzle that only you know how to restore. And so, piece by piece, I let it go. The need to explain, the instinct to hide, the desire to control how this unfolds. I open my hands and surrender not just what hurts, but what I have come to depend on. My fears have shaped me. My worry has become familiar. But you are calling me to something better. Something lighter. Something more whole. I do not want to be defined by what I carry. I want to be defined by who I follow. And I follow you. Remind me, Father, that I was never meant to carry all of this alone, that it is not noble to drown silently beneath invisible burdens, that there is courage in confession and strength in surrender, that my weakness does not disqualify me, it invites you in. You do not call me to carry weight. You call me to cast it. You say, "Come to me, not fix yourself first." And that grace, that deep, unwavering grace, is what I choose to believe today. Let this naming be the beginning of release. Let the lies lose their grip as I speak them into light. Let the false identities unravel. Let the old stories I have told myself fall away like chains that no longer belong. Let every weight I uncover become another place where you step in. Gently, powerfully, faithfully. I know the healing 1T happen all at once. I know some of these burdens will try to return, but I also know I am not who I was before this prayer. I am lighter already, not because everything has changed, but because I am no longer pretending I do not need you. Today, I will walk with a new awareness. I will notice the heaviness when it tries to settle. I will pause long enough to ask, is this mine to carry? And when the answer is no, I will bring it back to you. I will choose honesty over hiding. I will choose freedom over fear. I will choose to live as one who is seen, known, and deeply loved. And when I forget, because I will forget, I will return again to this moment, to this sacred space of release, not just once, but again and again, until lightness becomes familiar and peace feels like home. Father, as I continue to lay down the burdens I have finally been brave enough to name, I begin to see something I never quite recognized before. Some of what I have carried did not feel like burdens at all. They wore disguises familiar, convincing masks that I mistook for responsibility, preparation, even maturity. But now, with your presence shining gently over the pieces I have surrendered, I see it for what it truly is. Worry, and not just worry, but worry dressed up like wisdom. God, how easily I have confused the two. I called it planning. I called it being cautious, being thoughtful, being prepared. I called it foresight, calling ahead to every possible outcome, so I would not be surprised. I told myself it was love to worry this much about people, that it was diligence to lose sleep over decisions, that it was devotion to keep every detail under control. But it was fear, covered in layers of logic, wrapped in the language of responsibility, and because it sounded reasonable, I never questioned the grip it had on me. But here, with you, I do not have to pretend. I do not have to keep justifying the patterns that exhaust me. I can tell the truth. I have worn worry like a badge of honor, when it was really a chain. I have believed that if I just thought long enough, imagined hard enough, rehearsed every outcome thoroughly enough, I could prevent pain or avoid loss. But all it has done is drain me. It has not made me safer. It has not made life easier. It has made peace feel out of reach and made joy feel irresponsible. I have bowed to the lie that says the more I worry, the more I care. Lord, I see now that worry does not protect what I love, it pollutes it. It turns my attention inward, shrinking my focus down to what I cannot control. It robs the present moment. It hardens my heart with imagined futures. It creates tension in places where I long for connection. And worst of all, it builds walls between me and you, convincing me that I need to handle things first, fix things fast, keep everything in order before I can rest in you. But you are not asking me to carry the world. You are asking me to trust the one who already does. I have spent too many hours living in my head instead of in your presence. I have overanalyzed conversations, rehearsed possibilities, dissected my own decisions until they blurred into guilt or doubt. I told myself I was being careful. I thought I was being wise. But I was not leaning on you. I was leaning on my own understanding, believing that knowledge equals control, and control equals peace. But it has never worked, because peace does not live in knowing, it lives in trusting. So here I am, Father, lifting this mask and placing it at your feet. The mask that told me I had to think my way through everything. The mask that said faith was knave and that stress was strength. I no longer want to carry the appearance of wisdom when it is fueled by fear. I want the real thing. I want the kind of wisdom that starts with reverence, not anxiety. The kind that flows from your voice, not my overthinking. The kind that listens more than it plans, that trusts more than it controls. Show me, Lord, how to recognize worry in all its disguises, when it sneaks into my decision-making and calls itself strategy, when it lingers in my relationships and calls itself caution, when it whispers in my mind and calls itself discernment. Help me pause and ask, is this wisdom, or is this fear pretending to be wise? Let that question uncover the truth. Let it guide me back to you. Let it remind me that wisdom is not frantic. Wisdom is not heavy. Wisdom is pure and peaceable, full of mercy and good fruit. It does not lead me into panic. It leads me into peace. And if I must choose between seeming wise to others or being at peace with you, let me choose peace. Let me choose trust. Let me choose the quiet strength that does not need to explain itself, defend itself, or over-prepare for every unknown. Let me be okay with not knowing. Let me be free to breathe without overanalyzing every step. Let me walk lightly, knowing that you are ahead of me and behind me and beside me. I do not need to earn peace through performance. I need only to come to you, God. I know there will be days when the mask returns, when I feel that itch to control again, when I tell myself that thinking harder will protect me. But when that happens, remind me of this moment. Remind me of the difference between false strength and holy surrender. Remind me that wisdom is not just what I know, it is who I know. And I know you. I know your heart is steady when mine is restless. I know your vision is clear when mine is clouded by worry. I know your hand is strong enough to hold all that I have tried to carry on my own. So help me release the illusion of control. Help me recognize the patterns that steal my peace. Help me unlearn what fear has taught me and relearn what faith offers. Let my first instinct be prayer, not panic. Let my mind learn the rhythm of resting in you instead of racing ahead. Let my soul be quieted by truth instead of stirred by false urgency. Let me no longer confuse activity with obedience or anxiety with insight. Let me walk with you not 10 steps ahead in anxious planning, but step by step, trusting your timing, trusting your guidance. Father, I want to live differently. I want my days to be marked by trust, not tension. I want the people around me to feel less of my stress and more of your stillness. I want my thoughts to be rooted in truth, not tangled in fear dressed as responsibility. I want to be free from the need to know everything before I can rest, free from the belief that love equals worry, that maturity equals constant concern, that care means carrying what was never mine to hold. I want to be wise, truly wise, but only in ways that lead me back to you. So I let go again, and this time I let go of what I thought was wisdom. I release it with open hands, trusting that the wisdom you give does not confuse, does not burden, does not exhaust. It is gentle. It is full of grace. It leads to peace. And that is the path I want to walk. That is the voice I want to follow. This is the truth I choose now. Let it settle in me until worry no longer wears a mask and wisdom is no longer a disguise, but a light that leads me home to you. Father, now that I have stripped away the masks and laid bare the worries I once mistook for wisdom, I stand in a space that feels both fragile and free. It is unfamiliar to release what I have held for so long. Unfamiliar to let go without immediately grabbing something else to replace the emptiness. But maybe that is the point. Maybe there is a kind of strength you want to build in me that only grows when I stop clinging to the illusion of control. Maybe the real courage is not found in holding on, but in loosening my grip. Letting go has never come naturally to me. I have spent so much of my life holding tight to expectations, tight to plans, tight to people and roles and outcomes I thought I could manage if I just tried harder. I believed that releasing meant I was giving up. That surrender was failure. That open hands meant empty ones. But you are showing me a different way. You are inviting me to see that surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the moment when my spirit finally breathes, finally stops fighting, finally makes room for something greater than fear. God, you know how hard it is for me to sit in uncertainty. My instinct is always to act, to fix, to solve, to perform. I am drawn to the safety of doing, even when doing drains me. But in your presence, I sense something deeper calling me, a stillness that does not mean passivity, a quiet that does not mean avoidance, a release that does not mean defeat. You are not asking me to be less responsible. You are asking me to be more surrendered. Not to let go because nothing matters, but to let go because I matter to you, and you are capable of carrying what I cannot. Help me see the difference between control and care. Help me learn that caring deeply does not require holding tightly, that I can love people and entrust them to you, that I can plan with wisdom but leave room for your sovereignty, that I can pursue goals with excellence without chaining my identity to their outcome. I want to live with open hands, not clenched fists. I want to walk with a posture that says, I trust you more than I trust myself. Because when I finally loosen my hold, you have room to take what is fragile and give me something unshakable. Lord, there is a part of me that is afraid of what will happen if I stop striving, if I stop proving, if I stop managing everything around me. Will the world fall apart? Will I? The fear is real, but so is your voice. So is your peace. And when I really listen, I hear you saying, you were never meant to hold it all. That is not failure, that is design. You created me to walk with you, not ahead of you. You created me to be a vessel, not a machine. A child, not a controller. You did not breathe life into me so I could spend it, exhausted trying to hold what only you can handle. So I let go, not in despair, but in confidence. I release what I cannot change, not because I am done caring, but because I trust you to care with greater wisdom. than I ever could. I surrender the pressure to be everything for everyone. I surrender the fear that if I rest, I will lose ground. I surrender the false belief that my worth is tied to my effort. I surrender the unspoken vow I made to never be vulnerable again. I surrender the pride that whispers, "You can handle this without help." I surrender the shame that says, "I have already failed by feeling weak." Letting go does not mean I stop showing up. It means I stop showing up in my own strength alone. It means I start leaning deeply, deliberately, fully. It means I choose to believe that grace catches me every time I loosen my grasp. It means I learn to fall into you instead of falling apart. It means I stop measuring success by how tightly I hold and start measuring it by how freely I trust God. I want to live this out, not just pray it, not just feel it in quiet moments, but carry it into the chaos of my day. I want to make surrender my rhythm, not just my rescue. I want to weave it into the way I respond to interruptions, the way I navigate disappointment, the way I approach uncertainty. I want to be someone who moves through life without needing to control every detail, because I trust the one who sees the whole picture. Teach me to breathe deeply when things do not go as planned. Teach me to pause before reacting. Teach me to ask, "What are you doing here, God?" Instead of, "How do I fix this?" Teach me to respond with grace instead of panic. Let surrender become my first instinct, not my last resort. Let it be the doorway I walk through, not the wall I collapse against. You say your strength is made perfect in weakness. So I offer you mine. I offer you my undone places, my frayed edges, my broken attempts at control, and in return, I ask for your strength, not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet kind that holds steady in the storm. The kind that lets me sleep while the boat rocks. The kind that trusts you to speak peace over the wind and waves. I want to be free, Father, not just free from circumstances, but free within them. Free to let go of what I cannot control. Free to walk lightly through this life, carrying only what you place in my hands. Free to love without gripping, to hope without forcing, to follow without needing all the answers first. I want to live surrendered not once, but daily, moment by moment, choice by choice. So as I move through this day, help me to recognize when I am picking burdens back up. Help me to feel the tension in my soul when I start clinging again. Let it be a signal, not of failure, but of invitation. An invitation to return again to the place of trust, to return again to open hands, to return again to you. Let this surrender shape how I speak, how I listen, how I carry myself in the presence of others. Let it soften me. Let it anchor me. Let it remind me that I am not defined by what I hold, but by who holds me. I am not measured by my control, but by my willingness to trust. And today, I choose trust again. I choose release again. I choose the quiet, resilient power of surrender, not because I am strong, but because you are. And that will always be enough. Lord, now that I have begun to let go, I feel how deeply ingrained it was in me to always reach for control again. Even after surrender, my mind searches for a familiar anchor, a place to rest its attention, and I realize that what I fix my eyes on shapes everything I feel. Letting go is only the beginning. Where I look next, that is where the real change begins. My gaze determines the direction of my heart, and my heart determines how I live. It is so easy to return to old patterns, to fix my eyes on the things that feel urgent, heavy, or threatening. Feels natural to lock my focus on problems, on uncertainty, on the shadows stretching across my day. I catch myself scanning the future for signs of trouble. Get caught in the loop of wondering, worrying, preparing for what might go wrong. But none of it brings peace. None of it leads me closer to you. Because the more I stare at the waves, the more I forget that you walk on them. And when I forget, I sink. Father, you know how loud life can get. There are days when the noise outside echoes the noise within, and when everything feels chaotic, my focus follows the chaos. I feel it in my body, a tightening in my chest, a restlessness in my spirit. My thoughts start to race. My breathing shortens. My peace slips through my fingers. And it is not that you have left. It is that I stopped looking at you. I stopped noticing you. I let the storm steal my attention, and with it, my calm. But you are still there. Always steady. Always near. And today, I want to bring my gaze back to you. I want to shift my focus from what I can fix to the one who holds it all. I want to see beyond the surface, beyond the noise, beyond the temporary. I want to lift my eyes like the psalmist, who said, I lift up my eyes to the hills, where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. I want that kind of clarity, that kind of trust, that kind of upward vision. Teach me, God, how to train my eyes to look for you not just in the good, but in the middle of the unknown. Not just when everything feels right, but when everything feels unstable. Show me how to find traces of your presence in ordinary moments, in the way the morning light slips through the curtain, in the way someone smiles at me when I least expect it, in the breath that steadies me when I remember to pause. Help me to stop rehearsing the problem long enough to see your provision. I know that what I meditate on multiplies. If I dwell on fear, fear grows. If I dwell on grace, grace grows. So today, I choose grace. I choose to direct my thoughts to what is lovely, true, and praiseworthy. I choose to find beauty, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present. I choose to believe that peace is possible not by escaping trouble, but by focusing on truth. The truth that you are still God, still good, still working even when I cannot see the end of the story. Lord, I have spent enough time staring at doors that never opened, waiting for signs that never came, feeding the voice of fear with my attention, and it has left me tired. I have missed miracles while watching for threats. I have missed joy because I was watching for disappointment, but I do not want to live that way anymore. I want to live alert to you, not just aware of problems. I want to be someone who notices light in the middle of shadows, who sees mercy where others see mess, who recognizes hope even when things feel uncertain. Help me learn the discipline of redirecting my gaze. When my mind drifts into fear, remind me to return to truth. When I am tempted to obsess over outcomes, gently lift my chin and show me that you are still in control. When the day fills up with distractions, call me back to the simplicity of your presence. Let me be like Peter before the wind pulled him under, eyes fixed, heart steady, walking in impossible places, not because the storm had passed, but because his focus was on you. You never asked me to ignore the waves. You asked me to look beyond them. You never said the fire would not come. You said you would be in it. You never promised ease. You promised yourself, and that is the promise I want. Cling to today, not that everything will go my way, but that I will not face it alone. That you are here, that you are with me, that you are enough. I know I can control every thought, but I can choose which ones I dwell on. I can choose to notice when fear tries to lead me and gently turn back toward faith. I can practice seeing your fingerprints in the middle of the mundane. I can choose to look at the road you are laying before me, instead of the cliffs on either side. I can choose to believe that even if I lose sight of you, you have never taken your eyes off me. So here is my prayer today. Sharpen my vision. Let me see with spiritual eyes. Let me be quick to recognize your hand, even when it moves quietly. Let me be slow to jump to conclusions, slow to panic, slow to spiral. Let me be quicker to praise, quicker to pause, quicker to refocus. Let this shifting of my eyes become more than a moment. It becomes a rhythm, a habit, a way of walking through the world that keeps my heart aligned with yours. I do not want to live as one who is constantly reacting. I want to live as one who is constantly beholding your beauty, your strength, your constancy, your kindness, beholding the hope that still holds me when everything around me is fragile. Let my soul look up and stay there. Let it grow roots in the place of peace that does not change with circumstances. Let me look at you and become like what I see: steadfast, kind, calm in the chaos, anchored in love. Even now, as I sit in this quiet place, I turn my gaze again. Lift my attention from what might be to who you are. I silence the voices competing for my fear and listen for the whisper of peace that only comes from you. The problems are still there. The unknown is still ahead, but so are you. So is your presence. So is your promise. And when my eyes are on you, I walk differently. I carry myself with a quiet confidence, not in my ability, but in your nearness. So today, with every thought that tries to pull me away, I will choose again and again to return to the gaze that steadies me. I will return to the truth that what I look at will shape who I become. And I want to become someone who sees you clearly, constantly, and with wonder. Let that be enough to change everything. Let it begin now with one simple shift of my eyes. Lord, as I continue to shift my eyes toward you, I feel how fragile that focus can be when life stirs. I want to stay steady, to keep my gaze fixed on you. But all it takes is one gust of wind, one unexpected message, one unresolved fear, one loud voice in the background of my mind, and my vision begins to blur again. I remember Peter on the water, walking toward you with boldness in the beginning. It was not until he noticed the wind, until he saw the waves rising and heard the storm groaning around him, that his courage turned to fear and his feet began to sink. That moment lives inside me too. It plays itself out every time. I allow what I see to become louder than what I believe. Father, how many times have I started with faith but ended in fear? How many times have I taken one brave step forward, only to be pulled down by the noise of the storm? I try so hard to stay focused, to trust you, to walk through the unknown with peace, but when the wind rises, my mind begins to spiral. I overthink. I panic. I search for stability in all the wrong places. I look for signs instead of listening for your voice. I grip control instead of reaching for your hand. And like Peter, I begin to sink, not always physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. My calm gives way to confusion. My boldness gives way to hesitation. My peace gives way to pressure. But still, you reach for me. Still, you do not let me drown in the water of my own fear. Still, you call me back, not with anger or disappointment, but with compassion. Just as you pulled Peter up, you meet me in the moment when I falter. You meet me not when I have it all together, but when I begin to lose my footing. And you never mock my fear. You simply remind me that you are still near, that you have not changed, even when the storm has. God, I realize that the storm is not always outside. Sometimes it is inside. The wind can be the words I say to myself when I feel like I am not enough. The waves can be the disappointment I try to suppress when things do not go how I hoped. The storm can be the fear of being seen and still not being chosen. The fear of losing what I love. The fear of trying again after failing before. I may not be walking on literal water, but I know what it is like to step out in faith and then freeze, overwhelmed by what I can't control. And yet, you still say, "Come." You still invite me forward, even knowing how easily I forget. You still believe I can walk where others sink, not because of who I am, but because of who you are. You do not wait for perfect courage. You honor imperfect faith. And that is where I find hope, not in my ability to never look away, but in your willingness to lift me when I do. Lord, help me to remember that the presence of the storm does not mean the absence of your power. That fear may rise, but it does not have to win. That I can be afraid and still keep walking. If my eyes are on you, teach me not to measure success by how calm the sea is, but by how close I stay to you. Remind me that peace is not the lack of waves, it is the choice to trust the one who walks above them. Let me become someone who sees storms differently, not as signs of failure, but as opportunities to practice focus. Let the wind teach me how much I need you. Let the waves remind me where my help comes from. Let the storm become a teacher, not a threat. I do not want to fear hard moments anymore. I want to find you in them. I want to walk on what used to scare me. I want to keep moving, even when my heart beats fast and my steps feel unsteady. When the waves rise, let my worship rise higher. When my thoughts race, let your truth speak louder. When the storm rages, let me remember that you never lose sight of me. not even for a second. I may lose focus, but you never lose me. I may falter, but you are still holding on. You are not surprised when I sink. You are not frustrated when I panic. You are patient, steady, still saying, "Come." So I will come, again and again, even if I sink 1,000 times. I will keep reaching for you. I will keep walking toward you, because I know now that my security is not in the stillness of the water, it is in the faithfulness of the one who calls me to step out. You have not called me to a safe life. You have called me to a surrendered one where my eyes are fixed not on the risk, but on the relationship, not on the chaos, but on the connection. You are not asking me to be fearless. You are asking me to be willing, to trust that you are greater than the wind and stronger than the waves. Let that trust shape my steps today. Let it guide the way I speak to others. Let it soften the places in me that still try to manage everything alone. Let it shift how I face interruptions, delays, and disappointments. When I am tempted to sink into anxiety, remind me to shift my eyes. When I feel the storm rising again, let my soul rise to not by my strength, but by yours. Let this day be a lesson in looking up, in walking forward even when it feels impossible, in trusting that you will meet me on the water again and again. I do not need perfect focus to walk. I need a faithful heart that keeps turning back to you. And that is what I offer today, not perfection, but intention, a heart set on you, even when the storm rages, a soul determined to walk, even when the wind howls, a spirit that remembers, I may sink, but I will never drown, not when you are the one who calls me by name and holds me fast. Father, as I reflect on how often I have looked away in the middle of the storm, I begin to see that it is not just the present that tests my focus, is the past too. I do not just lose sight of you in chaos. Sometimes, I lose sight of who you have already proven yourself to be. There are moments when fear rises not because you have failed me, but because I have forgotten how faithfully you have carried me through before. I am learning that spiritual amnesia can be just as dangerous as the storm. And in this quiet space, I do not want to forget anymore. Lord, there have been seasons when I cried out to you in desperation, unsure if I would survive the weight I was carrying. And you answered not always in the way I expected, but always in the way I needed. You sent comfort through a friend's text, through unexpected provision, through strength that came at just the right time. There were times when I thought I would reach my limit, but somehow I kept going, not by my power, not by my plans, but by your grace. I look back now and see your fingerprints all over the places I thought were empty. But somehow, in the rush of life, I forget. I forget how you showed up. I forget how you calmed the fear before. I forget how you gave peace when I thought there was none left to find. I forget how you used closed doors to protect me. I forget how you made a way through pain, through confusion, through the wilderness. I forget not because I am ungrateful, but because I am overwhelmed. And still, forgetting robs me of the peace that memory could restore. It robs me of the strength that comes from knowing you have never let me go. God, I do not want to live like someone who does not remember. I do not want to face today's uncertainty as if I have no history with you. I have seen too much of your faithfulness to act like I am alone now. So today, I pause to remember, not just in passing thoughts, but deeply, intentionally. I want to walk through the doors of memory and sit again in the moments you held me, the moments you rescued me, the moments you quietly whispered that I was not forgotten. I remember the night I sat in silence, too numb to pray, and still felt a warmth that I could not explain. I remember the time I lost what I thought I could not live without and found you instead. I remember the season I had nothing left to give, but you carried me anyway. I remember when anxiety had wrapped itself around my chest, and you unraveled it with one gentle reminder of who you are. You did not abandon me then. You want to abandon me now. Teach me how to build altars in my memory, places I can revisit when doubt tries to move in. Let me collect the stories, the moments, the sacred glimpses of you that have marked my life. Let them become anchors. Let them become songs I can sing when the wind picks up again. Let them become testimony not just to others, but to myself. Because I am forgetful, Lord, my heart drifts. But you remain unchanged. You are as faithful today as you were then. Help me see that every time you came through was not a one-time miracle, but a pattern of your nature. It was not luck. It was not coincidence. It was you. You, showing up in the details. You, proving again and again that I am not forsaken. And if you were faithful then, you will be faithful now. You will be faithful tomorrow. You do not shift with my emotions or falter when I question. You are the same steady, patient, present God. I want my faith to grow deeper roots, not in wishful thinking, but in remembrance. When I feel shaken, help me recall the nights I thought I would not make it, but did. When I feel lost, remind me of how you guided me before. When I feel small, show me again the moments you used my weakness to bring beauty. I want to move forward with a heart anchored in what you have already done, not with fear of what might happen next. Let the past not haunt me, but help me. Let it not bind me with regret, but ground me in truth. I am not the same person I was back then. I carry the lessons you have taught me. I bear the strength you built in me through struggle. I walk with the healing you started, even if the process is still unfolding. And I trust that you who began a good work in me will be faithful to complete it. You do not abandon what you begin. So instead of rehearsing my past mistakes, help me rehearse your faithfulness. Instead of replaying my failures, help me replay your grace. Let me become fluent in gratitude, fluent in recognition of your hand in the hidden places. Let me wake up with the language of thanksgiving, because I remember what you have already carried me through. Let memory lead to worship. Let worship lead to rest. I will not let spiritual amnesia rob me of today's strength. I will not allow fear to overwrite what you have already written in my life. I will speak out what you have done. I will celebrate the evidence of your presence. I will hold it like treasure, not because the past is my home, but because it reminds me where home has always been in you. And when the next challenge comes, as I know it will, let the first thing I reach for be not panic, but memory. Let the first words out of my mouth not be what if, but even now. Let my history with you become a quiet fire in my soul, a light that does not flicker when the storm rolls in. Let me be someone who remembers and walks boldly because of it. Not fearless, but faithful. Not perfect, but present, because I know the one who has walked with me through it all, and I know he is not finished yet. Father, as I reflect on the importance of remembering what you have already done, I realize how often I allow that memory to be drowned out by the noise in my own mind. I carry within me a cycle I can't seem to stop, a loop of overthinking, playing out situations, conversations, possibilities, as if I could somehow control the outcome by thinking about it just a little more. I wake up with thoughts already moving too fast, and I lie down with questions still left spinning in circles. And the strange part is, it feels productive, like I am solving something, preparing for something, but I am not. I am just wearing myself down. Lord, you know how often I have mistaken overthinking for responsibility, how often I have carried the belief that the more I mentally rehearse a problem, the safer I will be from whatever pain it might bring. I try to protect myself with thought, as if overanalyzing can create peace, but it does not. It only adds noise where you are trying to bring stillness. It creates pressure where you long to give clarity. It holds me in the same questions for days, never allowing me to fully rest, and deep down, I know I am not moving forward, I am just circling around fear. God, I know you gave me a mind capable of wonder, reflection, and deep thought. But sometimes, I misuse that gift. I let it become a trap instead of a tool. I spiral. I fixate. I pull apart every detail of what I said, what they said, what I should have said. I imagine every worst-case scenario under the disguise of being prepared. I overthink decisions that should have taken moments because I fear what might go wrong if I choose wrong. But in doing so, I miss the peace that comes with trusting you more than I trust my own logic. Teach me, Lord, to find freedom from the trap of overthinking. Show me that not every question must be answered. Not every fear must be solved. Not every outcome must be mapped out before I can move. Remind me that you are not calling me to mental exhaustion, but to peace. You are not asking me to hold all possibilities in my head. You are asking me to place them in your hands. I do not need to plan every detail to rest in your care. I do not need to have the whole picture to take one faithful step. So I lay before you the things I have been obsessing over, the decisions that I keep picking back along after. I thought I gave them to you, the people I replay in my mind, trying to decode their tone, their meaning, their reaction, the tasks that haunt me even in rest, whispering that I have not done enough, have not thought through enough, the fears that say, if you do not figure this out now, something will fall apart. I give you every one. I name them as noise, and I ask you to help me turn the volume down. God, help me to create space between my thoughts and my identity. Let me remember that I am not my anxious reasoning. I am not my endless analyzing. I am not my scattered questions or the fears that hide beneath them. I am yours, and because I belong to you, I can let go of the pressure to always think my way into peace. Peace does not come from figuring everything out. It comes from being still and knowing that you are God. Even when I do not understand, remind me that overthinking is not the same as discernment, that wisdom listens before it concludes, that faith waits when fear demands answers. Help me choose silence instead of spiraling. Help me reach for prayer instead of panic. Let your voice be the filter for my thoughts. Let your truth be the place where my mind lands when it tries to wander. Let me walk away from the mental maze and into the meadow of trust, where thoughts are not racing, but resting in you. Father, I long for quiet within, not the absence of thought, but the presence of peace, a quiet mind that trusts instead of overanalyzes, a spirit that listens more than it reacts, a heart that allows the unknown to be a place of surrender, not stress. I want to wake up with clarity, not chaos. I want to go to sleep with calm, not questions. I want my thoughts to be shaped by truth, not fear dressed up in logic. And I know that means inviting you into the very place where the noise lives, into the thoughts I have never spoken out loud, into the ones that spin so fast I can't even catch them sometimes, into the assumptions, the expectations, the imagined conversations that leave me tired and anxious. You do not ask me to clean it all up before I come. You ask me to bring it all to you, as it is, and so I do, with open hands. I place the swirl of thoughts into your presence and ask for stillness to return. Let me recognize when overthinking becomes a form of self-protection. Let me gently notice when I am trying to control an outcome with thought alone. Let me breathe deeply instead of spiraling quickly. Let me pause and ask, have I prayed about this more than I have worried about it? Let that question become a pattern interrupt, a doorway back to you, a reminder that I am not responsible for holding the whole world together in my mind. Father, I believe you want to train my thoughts not just to think better, but to trust deeper, not just to solve problems, but to surrender them. Help me build new patterns, new pathways of peace. Let my mind return again and again to what is good, what is pure, what is hopeful, not because I have mastered it, but because I am learning to sit with you in the middle of it. I am learning to hand you my mental loops and let you trade them for peace that passes understanding. Even now, in this quiet space, I feel the swirl begin to slow. I feel the tangle beginning to loosen, not because everything is fixed, but because you are here, and you are enough. Let that be my new default, not frantic thought, but faithful presence, not pressure to solve, but permission to rest. Let this be the beginning of something new in me, a mind that is no longer a battlefield, but a sanctuary. A place where thoughts find their way back to truth, a place where overthinking is replaced with trust, a place where peace finally has room to live. Lord, as I sit with the stillness you are teaching me to cultivate, I begin to see how much of my restlessness has been rooted in the need to control. It is a quiet kind of grip I carry, one that hides behind good intentions, behind planning and preparing, behind making sure everything goes just right. But when I look honestly at the weight I have been dragging, I recognize that it comes from trying to hold what was never mine to begin with. The outcomes, the responses, the timing, the details, I have held them so tightly in my heart, fearing what would happen if I let go. God, I bring before you this longing for control that I have dressed up as responsibility. I have believed the lie that if I could only anticipate every possibility, I would be protected from pain. But instead, I have only become exhausted from carrying burdens I was never designed to bear. I have prayed while still clutching the situation. I have said I trust you, but then rehearsed my own version of how I hope things turn out. I have surrendered with one hand and held on with the other. And today, I want to finally release both hands. Father, you have never asked me to fix everything. You have never asked me to engineer my life with flawless precision. You have asked me to follow you, to trust you, to rest in you. Yet I often trade the simplicity of trust for the illusion of control. I try to write the script and hand it to you, instead of letting you author the story. I hold expectations so tightly that anything outside of them feels like failure. But deep down, I know that your plan is better than mine. Even when it is different, especially when it is different. Help me, Lord, to live in the tension between faith and not knowing. Teach me how to stand in uncertainty without fear. Show me how to release the outcome, what I cannot change. I may not know how long this season will last, how this relationship will unfold, how this door will open, or if it ever will, but you do, and you are already in the outcome I am so afraid of. You are present in the what-ifs. You are sovereign over the unknown, and you never abandon me in it. God, I confess that sometimes I try to manipulate outcomes with prayers that are more like demands. I say I want your will, but I secretly hope you will just align with mine. I plead for resolution but resist when it requires patience. I ask for direction but grow anxious when it takes longer than I expected. I want peace, but I often want it to come on my terms. Forgive me for thinking I know better than you. Forgive me for the moments I have been more focused on the result than on your presence. Let my faith be less about control and more about communion. Let it be about walking with you, not managing you. Let it be about surrender, not strategy. I do not want to keep living in the tension of conditional peace that only comes when things go my way. I want the kind of peace that exists even when the outcome is unclear. I want the deep, rooted assurance that you are good even when the path is winding and uncertain. I want to let go not just in word, but in spirit. Lord, help me name what I am trying to control. Is it the healing I am waiting on? The success I feel pressured to achieve? The relationship I long to mend? The path I fear has been lost? Help me recognize the subtle ways I try to force a solution. Help me recognize the fear beneath the grip. Help me release what was never mine to direct. Let me hold these things not with clenched fists, but with open palms. I know that surrender does not mean I stop caring. It does not mean I give up hope or become passive. It means I trust the one who sees further than I can. It means I act in obedience, and then rest in the knowledge that you are guiding the outcome. It means I keep praying, keep moving, keep hoping, but not from a place of anxiety, from a place of trust. And it means that even if things do not unfold the way I imagined, I am still held by the God who works all things for good. Let me remember the story of Jesus in Gethsemane. Not my will, but yours be done. Let that be the anthem in my heart, not just in the moments of crisis, but in the quiet choices of every day, in the waiting, in the wondering, in the watching. Let me echo those words, and in echoing them, let my soul find peace. Lord, I give you the outcomes I have idolized, the timelines I have clung to, the dreams I have tried to protect with fear instead of faith. I lay them all down. I lay down the pressure to make everything work. I lay down the assumption that it is all up to me. I lay down the inner turmoil that says if I stop holding on, everything might fall apart. And I choose instead to believe that when I let go, I fall into your hands, not into chaos, but into the care of a God who never drops what he holds. Teach me to breathe again when I feel the panic of release. Teach me to sing even when the outcome is silent. Teach me to rejoice in you, not just when things go right, but because you are right in every situation. My peace is not anchored in a result. It is anchored in a relationship, and no outcome can take that away. So as this day unfolds, as decisions rise, as circumstances shift, let me walk with the kind of surrender that sings. Let me hold everything loosely, because I hold tightly to you. Let me trust the unfolding, the unraveling, the in-between. Let me trust that you are doing more than I see, more than I understand, more than I would have dared to plan, and let that trust quiet my striving. Father, I release it all, not in defeat, but in faith. I let go, not because I am giving up, but because I am giving it to you. Let this be the rhythm of my spirit today. Surrender, peace, and trust. Let it begin now. Let it carry me forward. Let it make room for something holy to rise in place of the anxiety I have carried too long. I may not know the outcome, but I know the one who holds it, and that is more than enough. God, now that I have opened my hands and offered you the weight of what I tried to manage, I sense a strange stillness rising. It is not the kind of stillness that feels empty or absent, but a quiet that whispers possibility. There is uncertainty still wrapped around my circumstances, but there is also a growing space within me, a place no longer suffocated by fear. This is the fragile beginning of peace, not born from clarity but from trust. And while I still do not have the answers, I am starting to believe I do not need them in order to rest. Father, it is in this waiting place that my soul is being shaped, not by guarantees, but by grace. You are drawing me deeper, not just into the story you are writing, but into the character you are building within me. There is something sacred about the in-between, this space between surrender and resolution, where all I can do is choose to believe you are enough. I no longer need to figure it out. I just need to follow. I do not have to see the whole picture to take the next faithful step. Lord, this peace you give it is not the kind the world understands. It does not make sense on paper. It does not come from tidy conclusions or neatly wrapped endings. It rises mysteriously in the chaos. It shows up in moments I least expect, when my chest should be tight, but I find I can breathe. When tears are near the surface, but hope softens their fall. It is a peace that travels with me through the storm, not one that waits for the storm to pass. And so I ask you to help me stay here, not rushing, not resisting. Let me be present in this unknown without panicking. Let me stop rehearsing disaster and start rehearsing faith. Let the soundtrack of my thoughts no longer be filled with anxious what-ifs, but with quiet reminders of who you are. You are steady. You are near. You are not waiting for me on the other side of resolution. You are here. Right now, in the silence, in the unknowing, in the stretch of time that tests my trust. God, I admit it is still hard. There are days I wake up wondering if peace will hold. Moments I feel the tremble of fear trying to find its way back in. I do not always feel strong. Sometimes, I do not even feel spiritual. I just feel human, frail. Searching. Tired. But even in that, you meet me. You do not require perfection in order to pour out peace. You just ask for presence. You invite me to sit with you, no matter how shaky my faith feels, and allow your calm to soak through the noise. I remember the way you calmed the storm with a word, not because the disciples had perfect faith, but because you are a perfect Savior. And if you could speak to winds and waves and still their fury, then surely you can speak to the storm inside me too. So I listen for your whisper. I lean into the hush that follows surrender. I welcome the peace that passes understanding, not as a feeling I chase, but as a truth I cling to when nothing else makes sense. Lord, when the unknown stretches long, when answers seem hidden, remind me that you are not silent. You are speaking through the quiet, teaching me to depend not on outcomes, but on intimacy with you. Help me notice the small signs of your peace, like the way sunlight filters through my window, like the breath I did not realize I was holding being released, like the unexpected kindness of a friend, like the moment a scripture speaks louder than fear. These are the breadcrumbs that lead me back to your peace. Let me not despise the slow work of trust. Let me not curse the waiting, but see it as the soil where something deeper grows. In the unknown, faith takes root not because it is easy, but because it is essential. And in this soil, watered by prayer and warmed by your presence, I am beginning to see that the unknown is not a void. It is a sacred space where I meet you anew, not in the answers, but in the assurance of your companionship. God, help me rest even when the situation has not changed. Let my rest come not from resolution, but from relationship. I do not need the finish line to feel whole. I need your nearness, and you are near, even when I cannot trace your hand. You are near in the darkness, near in the wandering, near in the stretch between what was and what will be. You are not far. You are not distant. You are the whisper in the middle of my uncertainty, calling me back to peace. I surrender again not because I have no choice, but because I choose trust. I choose you over the illusion of control. I choose rest over striving. I choose the peace you offer, not the counterfeit calm I try to create. I choose the depth of your presence over the shallowness of quick fixes. And in this choice, peace begins to take root in places anxiety once ruled. So today, even if the world remains unpredictable, even if the answers do not arrive, I will walk with peace as my companion. Not because I have mastered anything, because I am learning to trust the one who holds everything. Let peace go ahead of me into every conversation. Let it follow behind me when I second-guess myself. Let it surround me when I feel alone. Let it anchor me when fear rises like a tide. Lord, you are the Prince of Peace. You are not just the giver of comfort. You are the comfort itself. When I reach for understanding, help me instead to reach for you. When I long for clarity, let me long for communion. When I ache for answers, let me ache for your voice. Because in you, I find a peace that does not depend on knowing everything. It depends on knowing you. So I step into this day, not with all the answers, but with open hands and a quiet heart. I step forward with the confidence that you are walking beside me. I will not fear the unknown, because it is already known to you. I will not be consumed by questions, because you are the answer I need most. I will not let the weight of uncertainty steal the joy of this moment. Instead, I will breathe in your peace and exhale everything else. Let this peace stay with me, not just in the sacred moments of prayer, but in the ordinary places where life unfolds. Let it follow me into traffic, into phone calls, into conversations that stretch my patience, into quiet hours where doubt whispers. Let it shape how I speak, how I wait, how I love. Let it be my response to fear, my resistance to chaos, my posture in the unknown. Father, I do not know what tomorrow brings, but I know who holds it, and that is enough. Lord, as I rise into this new moment held in your peace, I find myself looking not for signs in the sky, but for whispers in the everyday. After walking with you through the long unknown, something inside me has shifted. I am no longer only watching for miracles wrapped in thunder. I am learning to recognize you in the ordinary, in the patterns of breath, the softness of light on my wall, the rhythm of my steps across the room. You are there. You are in the pause between words and the warmth of a morning breeze, and perhaps that is the truest miracle of all. You choose to dwell not just in glory, but in the smallest places I used to overlook. Father, I confess how often I have waited for the grand moment, expecting you to show yourself only in burning bushes or parting seas. I have overlooked your presence in the simple because I was waiting for the spectacular. But you are a God of details. The same hand that set galaxies spinning also shaped the quiet curve of a leaf. The same voice that calms storms also whispers through stillness. And now, I want to notice you not just on mountaintops, but in mundane Mondays, in quiet kitchens and traffic lights, in cracked sidewalks and the laughter of children. Let me never grow numb to the everyday grace you pour out. Let me never forget that every breath I take is borrowed from eternity. Every moment is wrapped in mercy. You are not only found in breakthroughs, but in breakfasts made, doors held open, and the echo of birds outside my window. There is no moment too small for you to inhabit, no scene too ordinary for you to sanctify. And so today, Open my eyes to wonder right here, right now, in what I used to call routine. God, I want to live awake, not just existing, not just surviving days, but living each one as a sacred unfolding. Because when I remember you are in everything, then nothing is wasted. The tears have meaning. The waiting becomes a classroom. Even the silence holds lessons. So often, I have missed your voice because I imagined it should sound like thunder. But now I hear it clearer in the hush, in the heart nudges, in the small still sense that I am not alone. I am beginning to understand what it means to walk with you, not just run to you. This walk is not rushed. It does not require fireworks. It simply asks that I pay attention, that I see the kindness in a stranger's eyes, that I feel your love when sunlight kisses my skin, that I smile at the sound of my name spoken with affection. These are the sacred breadcrumbs, leading me deeper into communion. And they are everywhere, if I just look. Father, help me develop a heart of holy attentiveness. Let my inner eyes be trained to recognize the brushstrokes of your grace. I do not want to miss what you are doing, because I am too distracted. I do not want to live with my head down, eyes on screens, and miss the eternal written in the temporary. Instead, let each simple moment become a doorway into praise. Let thankfulness be my response to every gift, whether wrapped in joy or trial. Let me whisper gratitude even when the day feels quiet. You have always been near. It was never about your absence, only my awareness. You were with me when I wept into my pillow, even when no words could rise. You were beside me when I stood at the edge of decision. You were there when the phone did not ring, when the diagnosis came, when the job fell through. And you were still there in the sunrise that followed, in the friend who texted at just the right moment, in the way peace arrived without a reason. Lord, help me to see the divine hidden within the daily. Let not 1 hour pass unnoticed. When I sip water, let me remember how you satisfy my thirst. When I eat bread, let me remember you are the bread of life. When I light a candle, let me recall that you are the light in my darkness. Let even my routines become rituals of remembrance. Let the most ordinary actions awaken sacred awareness within me. Even when I am folding laundry or waiting in line, remind me that nothing is beneath your presence. You walked dusty roads. You touched the sick. You broke bread with sinners. And you are still doing it now, meeting me in humble places, not just in holy spaces. Let me never separate my spiritual life from my actual life. Let every room I walk into become a sanctuary, because you are with me there. God, let me not become so focused on seeking you that I miss where you already are. You are not just a destination I strive toward. You are the companion walking beside me. I do not have to ascend some impossible mountain to reach you. You are in the field I pass on my commute, in the grocery store aisle, in the breath I take before a difficult conversation. You are not limited by sacred buildings or spiritual moods. You are limitless love, always reaching. Father, may I become a person of soft attention. Let me stop rushing past miracles because they wear plain clothes. Let me smile more, slow down more, speak kinder. Let me live like someone who truly believes that God is in their midst. because that is the truth I am beginning to hold, not just with my head, but with my whole heart. You are not distant. You are here, in the middle of it all. So, I will step into this day with my senses tuned, my hands open, my eyes alert, my heart expectant. Even in the ordinary, I am standing on holy ground. Every moment is a chance to remember. Every second is an invitation to encounter. I do not need a miracle to know you are with me. I need only to pause, to breathe, to remember, and suddenly, the veil between heaven and earth feels thin. Lord, do not let familiarity breed forgetfulness. Let even the most repeated moments, making coffee, brushing teeth, writing emails be woven into worship. Let every rhythm of life become a drumbeat of gratitude. Let the common become communion. Let this day not pass me by in a blur of tasks and checklists. Let me move slowly enough to notice, to wonder, to adore, because you are here, right here, in this breath, in this light, in this silence, in this moment. And that is more than enough. Father, even as I begin this day with the awareness of your presence in all things, there are moments when the path ahead grows unclear and shadows stretch longer than I expected. Though I know you are near, there are seasons where I cannot see the evidence, where my heart feels blindfolded by fear or fatigue. And in those times, when clarity slips through my fingers like mist, I need your strength to trust again, not in what I can perceive, but in who you are, God. It is easy to believe when blessings are visible and answers arrive swiftly, but the real test of faith often comes when silence lingers, when the waiting feels endless, when prayers return with no reply. In those stretches of stillness, remind me that faith was never about seeing the whole picture. It was always about holding your hand in the dark, knowing that you see even when I cannot. You have always been faithful, not just in grand rescues or dramatic breakthroughs, but in the quiet sustenance of my soul. You have walked with me through storms I thought would break me, and I am still standing, not because I was strong, but because you held me together. So now, even when vision fails me, let memory guide me. Let all the times you showed up before become my anchor in this moment. Let the history of your goodness become the foundation of my confidence. Lord, help me not to lean on my own understanding, for it is fragile and flawed. I admit I often try to reason my way through pain, to explain suffering, to grasp control where none is mine to take. But you do not ask me to solve the mystery. You invite me to surrender into the hands of one who knows the end from the beginning. Let me rest there in the deep assurance that you are orchestrating something far greater than I can comprehend. I do not need to see the full staircase to take the next step. I only need to know the one who builds it. And you, Lord, are the master architect of all that is good, even when the structure feels incomplete from my angle. So I will choose to walk by faith, not by sight, to move forward, not because I have certainty in circumstances, but because I have certainty in you. Strengthen my heart when doubt creeps in, when I am tempted to believe that delays are denials, that your silence is absence, or that my weakness disqualifies me from your love. In those vulnerable places, Whisper truth again, that you are not pacing nervously in heaven. You are not unprepared or distracted. You are present, intentional, and unfailing. Every second that passes is held within your sovereign hands. God, when I find myself trying to rush ahead, when I grow restless in the waiting, anchor me with peace. Teach me that stillness is not stagnation. That sometimes the most faithful act is to be still and know, to trust the seed even before it breaks the ground, to trust the dawn even when it is still night, to trust that you are working even in silence, even in shadow, even in suffering. Help me release the illusion that I must have answers before I have peace. Let me cling to you more tightly than I cling to explanations. Let me believe, not because the circumstances make sense, but because you are my steady place, because you are the God who does not change when the winds do, because you are the God who walks on water and invites me to do the same, even when logic says I will sink. Lord, teach me to trust you in the not-yets, in the almosts, in the aching places where hope is fragile. Let me worship while I wait. Let my praise rise even when progress is invisible. Let my joy be rooted not in outcomes, but in the unshakable truth that you are with me. That even if the answers never come the way I hope, I am not abandoned. I am held. Father, make my faith resilient, not brittle and easy to shatter, but deep and supple, able to bend without breaking. I do not want a faith that only stands in sunshine. I want a faith that learns to sing in the rain, to praise when there is pain, to believe when all else fades. For it is in those valleys that trust becomes real, not a theory, but a lifeline. There is something holy about continuing to trust you in the dark, something sacred in choosing to say, I still believe, when nothing external confirms it. That kind of faith is not built on comfort. It is forged in fire. And though it hurts, I sense you are refining something inside me that will last far longer than the present struggle. You are shaping in me a trust that outlives storms, a love that outlasts loss. So I yield again. I lay down the need to figure it all out, to predict the path, to demand signs. I lean into mystery, not with fear, but with faith, knowing that you are already in the places I have yet to arrive. You are preparing the next chapter, even as I live this one. And while I wait, while I walk by faith and not by sight, I will cling to the truth that you are enough. Let me wake up each day with open hands, willing to receive whatever you give and release whatever you take. Let me trust that your timing is not a mistake, that delays can be a kindness, that detours can be protection, that waiting can be the very soil where miracles grow unseen. Let me believe that I am not falling behind when I walk at your pace. God, I do not need to know where this road leads to trust that it leads somewhere good. I only need to trust that you are leading, and you are, always have been, always will be. So today, when vision fails, let memory speak. When fear rises, let trust rise higher. When doubt knocks, let truth answer. And in the spaces between where I am and where I long to be, let love be my guide. You have brought me this far, and you will carry me farther still. I may not see the whole story, but I know the author, and that is enough for today. Lord, as I continue walking this quiet road of morning reflection with you, I feel the silent aching of wounds that have lingered longer than words can express. Some have been buried so deep they have faded into the rhythm of my everyday thoughts. Hidden but heavy, others throb freshly when memories resurface, uninvited but unrelenting. And yet, in this space, I feel safe enough to bring them to you, not with shame, not with fear, but with the fragile hope that you care about the hidden bruises. 2. God, you are the one who sees beyond the mask I wear for the world. You notice the sorrow behind the smile, the tremble beneath my laughter. You are not fooled by the polished surfaces. You know the stories behind my silence, the pain that was never validated, the betrayal I never confessed, the loneliness I tried to outrun, the harsh words spoken long ago that still echo in my heart. And you do not turn away. You move gently into the places I have locked up for so long, not with judgment, but with compassion, not to expose and embarrass, but to touch and restore, like a skilled physician who sees the wound not as weakness, but as something worth healing. You draw near, and even when I try to deflect, to pretend I am fine, to minimize my pain, you patiently stay. Father, teach me how to grieve what I have never allowed myself to mourn. Show me how to sit with the sorrow without drowning in it. Help me name the things I have pushed away for fear they were too much to carry. For too long I have called it strength to ignore the pain, but now I see that true courage is letting it surface in your presence and trusting that you are strong enough to hold it all. Sometimes the healing I need is not for a broken bone, but for a broken spirit. For the places where rejection built walls, where disappointment seeded cynicism, where fear took root and grew quietly, convincing me to live smaller than I was made for. You do not just want to fix me. You want to restore me to wholeness, to return the parts of me I have buried under shame, under lies, under the heaviness of wounds never treated. God, meet me in the memories that still sting. Walk with me through those rooms of the past I have closed off. Be with me in the reliving, and bring light into the moments that have felt frozen in pain. Let your voice speak louder than the ones that said, I was not enough. Let your presence override the loneliness that lingered long after everyone left. Let your truth begin to unmake the lies I once believed were part of me. Father, heal the inner battles I do not even fully understand, the triggers I do not always recognize, the defensiveness that rises before I have time to think, the sadness that settles without reason. You see all of it, and you care. You never demand that I tidy myself up before coming to you. You welcome me as I am confused, hurting, layered in complexity. And you start the healing from the inside out. Even now, I sense you bringing peace to the places that have been in turmoil for years, not always with sudden resolution, but with steady reassurance, with the kind of calm that does not depend on everything being fixed, but on the nearness of your presence. Sometimes what I need most is not an answer, it is a reminder that I am not walking through the ache alone. Lord, teach me to be patient with the process, to understand that healing is not always linear, that some days I may feel strong and others I may struggle just to breathe, that progress is still real even when it feels slow. That scars are not signs of failure, but proof that I survive. That you are working in ways I cannot measure, and that every tear is noticed by you. None wasted. None dismissed. God, help me forgive not just others, but myself, for the choices I made when I did not know better, for the ways I have internalized blame that was never mine to carry, for the harshness I have turned inward. Let me extend to myself the same grace you so freely give. Let me be as kind to my heart as you are. Teach me to stop reopening wounds with self-criticism and instead invite your voice to speak healing and life. There is no timeline for grief, no expiration date for sorrow, no formula for how long healing takes. But there is always you, and in every stage shock, anger, numbness, sadness, even weariness you remain. You stay. You hold my story gently. Never rushing, never pushing me faster than I am ready to go. You honor every step of the journey, however small it may seem. You celebrate the moments I breathe a little easier, and you sit with me when I can't. So today, I offer you the pieces of my heart that still feel shattered, not in desperation, but in trust, knowing you are not overwhelmed by the depth of my pain. You are drawn to it. You see it as the place where something holy can grow, where beauty can rise from ashes, where strength can be rebuilt not on denial, but on truth, compassion, and grace. Let this be the day where I stop hiding what hurts. Let this be the morning I begin again, not by forgetting what has been, but by opening my heart to what still can be. Let me believe that healing is not a fantasy, but a promise, that joy can return, even after deep loss, that love can bloom again, even in places once scorched by betrayal, that laughter can rise again, not as denial of pain, but as resurrection after it. Father, thank you for not rushing my healing, for not comparing my timeline to anyone else's, for being content to sit with me in silence, to weep with me in sorrow, to wait with me until I am ready. Let me feel no pressure to perform wellness, but only the freedom to walk it out honestly with you. Let this morning mark a shift, not in everything changing instantly, but in hope returning gradually. And even if the H does not fully lift today, let me know I am not alone in carrying it. Let me trust that you are holding the weight with me, that every step forward is holy, that healing is not something I must achieve, but something I receive as I stay close to the one who never stops loving me, never stops believing in who I am becoming. Father, as I sit in the stillness of this morning, the echoes of yesterday's sorrows and today's uncertainties mingle softly in my spirit. I find myself reaching for answers that have not yet come and seeking clarity in a world that often offers only questions. The H for understanding is real, and yet in this gentle hush, I feel you calling me not to figure everything out, but simply to trust you, not because I see the full path ahead, but because I know you walk with me through every shadowed turn and unfamiliar step. God, trusting you is not always easy, especially when my mind wants control and my heart longs for guarantees. I want to know how things will unfold. I want to hold a map, to read ahead, to plan with certainty. But you invite me into something deeper, something more intimate than predictability. You invite me to rest in the truth that I am not lost even when I feel directionless, because I am never outside the reach of your hand. There are so many things I can predict, and that frightens a part of me. The unknown often wears the face of fear. It whispers what ifs and worst-case scenarios. It paints pictures of failure, abandonment, loss. But you, Lord, whisper peace. You remind me that the unknown to me is never unknown to you. What I cannot see, you already hold. What I cannot plan, you have already prepared. And when I can feel secure in circumstances, I can still feel secure in your love. I confess how quickly I lean on my own understanding. How often I try to reason my way out of fear rather than lean into faith. I try to prepare for every possibility, as if I could protect myself from every pain. But you are not calling me to be my own savior. You are not asking me to carry what was never mine to hold. You are asking me to open my clenched fists and receive the peace that comes from surrender. So today, I choose to trust not because everything makes sense, but because you are good even when life is not. I choose to believe that you are at work behind the scenes, orchestrating things I cannot yet see. I choose to believe that delays are not denials, and closed doors are sometimes kindness in disguise. I choose to rest in your timing, even when it moves slower than my anxious heart would prefer. Lord, I do not need every answer. I need assurance of your presence, and you have already given that. You promised never to leave, never to forsake. You promised to be near to the brokenhearted. You promised to go before me and to be my rear guard. These promises are my anchors in the storm. They do not erase the wind, but they keep me steady through it. Help me remember that faith is not the absence of questions, but the choice to believe even while they linger. That courage is not about being unafraid, but moving forward while holding your hand. That trust is not passive. It is an act of love, a quiet rebellion against fear, a declaration that you are enough even when answers are not. Sometimes the unknown stretches out like an empty road, quiet and long. It tempts me to despair, to fill the silence with worry. But you are in the silence too. You are the God who spoke creation into being with a word, and who also meets me in the hush of my wondering. You are not intimidated by my lack of clarity. You are not bothered by my trembling steps. You welcome me as I am and walk beside me in the mystery. Let this day be shaped not by what I fear, but by what I believe. Let my thoughts be ruled not by the noise of uncertainty, but by the steady voice of your spirit. Let me resist the urge to run ahead or shrink back, and instead walk slowly, intentionally, open to whatever you are doing in this very moment. Let the unknown become holy ground, not because it is easy, but because it is where I learn to depend on you. Even as I wait for breakthrough, let me not miss the beauty of this in-between place. There are gifts here if I have eyes to see them. The slowing down, the deepening trust, the moments of quiet closeness, the stripping away of distractions, the rediscovery of simple gratitude. Maybe the unknown is not something to escape, but a space to be transformed, a space where fear is disarmed and faith is refined. God, You are my steady place when everything else feels shaky, when plans fall apart, when dreams take longer than I hoped, when I do not know what is next. You remain. You do not change with seasons. You are not swayed by outcomes. You are faithful in the now, and you will be faithful in the next. So I plant my trust in you, not in what I see, but in who you are. There is freedom in letting go, in loosening my grip on what I cannot control, in breathing deep and remembering that I am not in charge of the whole world. You are, and you do not slumber or sleep. You do not overlook the details. You are intimately acquainted with all my ways. You go before me and behind me, and you hem me in with grace. Lord, give me the kind of trust that sings in the dark, the kind that chooses peace before understanding, the kind that does not need to know the outcome to rest in your goodness. Let my life be marked not by how much I figured out, but by how deeply I relied on you. Let trust become the lens through which I see this day, not as a puzzle to solve, but as a path to walk with you. And if fear creeps in again, and it will remind me gently to bring it back to you, to trade it for courage, to trade it for stillness, to trade it for a quiet knowing that I am held. Remind me that I was never meant to carry this day alone, that you are with me in every detail, whispering hope where fear once lived, breathing calm where chaos threatened, and lighting the way one step at a time. Lord, as I continue to follow the thread of trust you began weaving in my spirit, I feel you guiding my heart to see beauty, not just in the vastness of your plans, but in the seemingly insignificant moments that often pass unnoticed. Yesterday's surrender has softened my soul to recognize that sometimes grace does not come wrapped in grand events or miraculous signs, but in the quiet ordinary, like the rhythm of breath, the warmth of morning light, or the soft smile of a stranger. These small things carry your fingerprints, and I want to become someone who sees them. God, help me not to rush past what is sacred just because it appears simple. Sometimes I search so desperately for big answers that I overlook the small mercies already blooming around me. Let me not wait for breakthroughs to be grateful. Let me be the kind of heart that notices you in a cool breeze, in a perfectly timed pause, in the silent strength that meets me in the middle of the mundane. The grace that carries me is often the one I do not see until I slow down enough to look. Even now, as the day begins to unfold, let me tune my senses to wonder. Let me marvel at how sunlight spills across the floor, at how the sound of birdsong lifts the silence, at how my body rises to another day even when sleep felt too short. These are not accidents. These are the small streams through which you pour life. And when I stop trying to measure grace by size or spectacle, I begin to taste the richness of your presence in every corner of my being. Father, teach me to cherish the small beginnings, the small progress, the small victories. Sometimes my spirit grows weary because I expect transformation to happen all at once. But you are a patient artist, shaping me slowly, layer by layer. You whisper that small steps still move forward, and quiet acts of faith are no less sacred than bold ones. Remind me that growth is often silent, and that healing does not always make noise. Let me honor the process rather than despise it. When the world measures success in visibility and applause, Let me find contentment in the unseen spaces where you do your deepest work. When I fold a blanket, cook a meal, answer a message, or listen to someone who simply needs to be heard, let me remember that love is often most real when it is least performative. I do not need a stage to serve you. I just need an open heart and willing hands. Let each moment, no matter how small, become an altar where your love is made real. God, it is easy to discount what does not sparkle. But you came into this world not in royal robes, but in a humble manger. You chose fishermen, tax collectors, and outcasts to carry your message. You multiplied loaves and fish brought by a boy whose name we never learned. Again and again, you show me that small is never insignificant in your hands. So let me offer you what I have today, no matter how little it seems, believing you can multiply it into something eternal. Give me eyes to see not just what is obvious, but what is hidden. Let me notice the tired soul doing their best. Let me be gentle with the impatient. Let me extend grace before judgment. Let me see my own weakness not as failure, but as space where your strength can shine. And when I catch myself longing for more, let me ask if I have already been given more than enough. I just forgot to see it. Lord, there is a kind of miracle in the daily, in the way morning always follows night, in the way wounds slowly knit beneath the skin, in the way laughter returns after tears. Help me not to overlook these resurrections just because they come without fanfare. Let them remind me that your faithfulness is not seasonal. It is steady, present, and deeply personal. And often, it looks like love showing up again and again in ordinary ways. Make me aware of the sacredness of now. Not tomorrow when things feel easier. Not yesterday when things made more sense. But this moment unfolding. Imperfect. And real. Right here is where you meet me. Right here is where you invite me to breathe deeply and pay attention. To put down the distractions, to listen with both ears and both hands open. Right here is where grace can be found, not as an interruption to life, but as the essence of it, even when things feel repetitive or uninspired. Help me remember that not every day is about doing something new. Some days are about doing the same things with new gratitude. Let me make my bed like I am preparing a sanctuary. Let me wash dishes like I am participating in restoration. Let me greet others like I am welcoming angels unaware. Let every repetitive act become a rhythm of reverence, a beat in the melody of a life surrendered to you. Father, may I never outgrow wonder. Let not my heart become too sophisticated to gasp at rainbows or too cynical to laugh at the joy of children. Help me remain childlike and spirit wide-eyed, open-hearted, and quick to celebrate. Let me gather the day as small joys like treasures, a warm drink, a kind word, a moment of peace between tasks. These may not fix the world, but they soothe the soul, and I believe that is no small thing. When the world rushes me, whisper slow. When the day feels too full, remind me that fullness does not equal fruitfulness. Let my value not be determined by how much I get done, but by how well I am present to what truly matters. And when I feel unseen in the little things I do, let me remember that you see them all. Nothing done in love is wasted. Nothing offered sincerely is forgotten. Let this morning mark the the beginning of a posture that remains throughout the day, a spirit that does not need fireworks to feel alive. A spirit that notices the subtle movement of your grace through hours that feel uneventful, but are laced with your presence. Let my soul lean into simplicity with joy, into quietness with trust, into smallness with dignity. For where you are, even the smallest things carry eternal weight. Father, as I carry forward this awareness of your grace within the quiet and ordinary, I find myself longing for the kind of patience that does not waver under pressure, not the kind of patience that merely waits with gritted teeth, but the deep-rooted kind, the patience that trusts in what is not yet seen, that believes in your perfect timing, and that rests even when answers delay. The world teaches me to rush, to pursue immediacy, to measure worth in how fast things arrive. But you whisper of a different pace, a sacred slowness that is never late, but always deliberate. Train my heart in this gentle strength. Lord, when impatience knocks on the door of my soul, remind me that I am not forgotten just because something has not yet happened. Delay does not mean denial. Silence is not abandonment. Sometimes you are growing the roots while I only see barren soil. And in those seasons where it feels like nothing is moving, help me to stay faithful, knowing that you are still at work beneath the surface. Let me believe that waiting is not wasted time, but holy ground where trust is cultivated. Teach me to carry peace into the process. When plans unravel, or when people do not respond as I hope, let me choose patience over irritation. Let me be slow to react, quick to listen, and gracious in disappointment. Even when tension tightens in my chest and I feel the pull to control or push, help me step back. Breathe deeply, and remember that not everything needs to be solved immediately. Some things simply need to be held with compassion and released into your care. God, I confess that too often I rush past today in pursuit of tomorrow. I reach for the outcome without honoring the in-between. But you are the God of the journey, not just the destination. You walk beside me in each step, not only waiting at the finish line. So let me be fully present where I am. Let me give this hour my attention, my heart, my presence. Let me find value in the becoming, not just the arriving. Let patience become not just a virtue I try to hold, but a rhythm I learn to live by. When I face people who test my limits, give me grace to respond with kindness. Let my patience not be passive, but active, a choice to meet frustration with gentleness, to offer others the same mercy I hope to receive. When someone interrupts my plans, disrupts my focus, or challenges my peace, remind me that they too are carrying their own unseen burdens. Let me see beyond the surface and respond with a heart anchored in love, not in ego. Father, remind me that growth is often invisible. The strongest trees do not show their roots, yet they are anchored deep. So too, my soul may be growing in ways I cannot measure. Help me to trust that the character you are shaping within me matters more than the results I am trying to force. Let me not define success by speed or visibility, but by the integrity of my spirit, the calmness in my reactions, and the faithfulness in my small, unseen choices. Even as the world demands urgency, teach me to walk with unhurried confidence. Let me remember that rushing rarely brings clarity, That often, the answers I seek come not in chaos, but in quiet. Let me create space within my mind to hear your still voice. Let silence be my sanctuary, not my discomfort. In the quiet, let me rediscover the strength to be patient with myself, my healing, my learning, my stumbling. Help me to stop measuring my worth by how fast I improve or how perfectly I perform. When my prayers seem to linger in the waiting room of heaven, let me still believe. When the door remains closed longer than I expected, help me remember that you may be protecting me, preparing me, or positioning me for something better than I imagined. Let me trust that unanswered prayers are not signs of neglect, but part of a bigger story, being written with eternal ink. I want to believe even in the pause, even in the not yet, even in the meantime. God, shape my thoughts to be patient with the process of others too. Let me not demand change on my timeline. Let me not force maturity in those around me. Everyone is walking their own path of refinement, and I have no right to rush what you are doing in them. Instead, make me a safe space for those still growing. Let me speak encouragement where they doubt, offer support where they stumble, and celebrate small progress with sincere joy. Let my life become a testimony of slow beauty. Let me be someone who waits well, not with bitterness, but with expectancy. Let my waiting be filled with worship, my silence with peace, my questions with trust. If all I do today is choose patience instead of reaction, then that is a victory. If all I offer is a calm word in a tense moment, then that is holy. Let me measure today by how much grace I gave, not how much I accomplished. When the hours stretch and the to-do list overwhelms, help me take things one at a time. When I feel behind, remind me that you are not hurried, and I do not need to live like I am running out of time. Let me live with open hands, releasing the pressure to get it all done, and embracing the beauty of doing one thing with love. Let me see interruptions as invitations, not obstacles. Let me welcome detours as divine redirections. Father, I also pray for those who are deeply weary in the waiting, those longing for healing, breakthrough, connection, or clarity. Strengthen their hearts. Whisper to their pain. Be near to their discouragement. Let them know they are not alone. And if I can be a vessel of patience to them, let me be willing. Let me walk beside them without rushing their grief or minimizing their struggle. Let me simply be present like you are. Thank you for being endlessly patient with me. For the times I have doubted, feared, resisted, or failed, still you remain. Still you draw near. Still you love me gently, never pushing but always inviting. Let that be the kind of presence I offer to others, reflection of your slow and steady love, a witness to the truth that you are never in a hurry with hearts, because hearts take time to heal and grow. And so, in this morning hour, I lift this prayer as a quiet offering. Let this day be one in which I move at the speed of grace. Let this be a day where I do not try to sprint toward peace, but walk with it hand in hand. Let this be a day where my soul breathes deeply, knowing that everything that needs to be done will be done in its time, not by striving, but by surrender, not by rushing, but by resting in the patient work of a faithful God. Lord, as I rise into this new moment held within your mercy, I carry with me the stillness that was born from the patience you cultivated in me. And yet, even as I learn to wait well, I confess that sometimes I feel uncertain in the waiting. The silence can feel like a fog. The unknown looms large. So today, I ask for clarity, not necessarily answers to every question, but clarity of spirit. Let me see not just the path before me, but the posture you invite me to carry. Let me walk not in confusion, but in confidence. Not because I know everything, but because I know you are with me. Father, you are not the author of chaos. You are the calm in the midst of it. So when the road ahead feels blurry, help me return to what I do know. You are good. You are near. You are able. Let that truth be my compass when direction feels elusive. Even when I cannot predict outcomes, let me root myself in promises that never change. Anchor my soul in the steadiness of your character, so that I am not swayed by changing circumstances or shaken by shifting opinions. Let my clarity come not from control, but from communion. When choices weigh heavy on my heart, when multiple paths stretch before me, give me discernment not born from fear or pressure, but from intimacy with you. Speak through the quiet. Nudge me through peace. And if the decision is not yet ready, help me to trust the delay. Sometimes the clearest answer is to wait a little longer. Teach me to listen not only with my mind, but with my spirit. Let my heart become so familiar with your presence that I recognize when you are saying go, when you are whispering stay. God, grant me the courage to follow through once clarity is received. Sometimes I hesitate not because I do not know what to do, but because I fear what obedience will require. I second guess. I delay. I shrink back. But you have not given me a spirit of fear. You have called me to walk boldly, even when the outcome is not guaranteed. So strengthen my hands for the steps ahead. Help me to stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios and instead start remembering the miracles behind me. Remind me that every time I trusted you in the past, you made a way. You provided. You healed. You led. Let me be brave not because I am fearless, but because I am loved. Let your love cast out the anxieties that tighten in my chest. Let your peace speak louder than the panic that sometimes creeps into my thoughts. Let your promises override the paralysis of what-ifs. I want to walk forward with a steady heart, not rushing, not hesitating, but moving in rhythm with your spirit. Give me the kind of courage that does not roar, but remains unmoved when storms rise. When I am faced with criticism, misunderstanding, or rejection, let my identity remain unshaken. Remind me that I am not defined by how others see me, but by how you formed me. Their opinions are not my foundation. Your truth is. So I release the need to please everyone. I let go of the burden to explain myself endlessly. I choose instead to walk in quiet confidence, anchored in the assurance that you know my heart. That is enough. Lord, help me to trust you with the things I cannot yet see. You are already in the moments I am afraid of. You are already preparing the people I need to meet, opening the doors I have yet to find. softening the hearts I have not yet encountered. You are not waiting to respond once I arrive at the next step. You are already there, orchestrating, aligning, working behind the veil. So I release the need to understand every detail. I simply choose to follow the light you have given me for today. And that is enough. Let my clarity today be about faithfulness, not perfection. I do not need to predict every bend in the road. I simply need to walk this mile with integrity, love, and courage. If the destination is uncertain, let the direction be marked by peace. Let my decisions flow not from desperation, but from devotion. I choose to act not out of fear of missing out, but from the fullness of being led by you, God. When doubts whisper lies into the quiet of my thoughts, help me to hold them up to the light of your word. Let me test every fear against your truth. Let me weigh every worry against the cross. Remind me that no lie is louder than your voice, and no fear is greater than your faithfulness. Let me be vigilant in guarding my mind, not by striving, but by soaking in what is true, noble, and pure. Fill me so fully with what is holy that there is no room left for anxious clutter. As I walk into this day, let trust be my posture, not because I know how today will unfold, but because I know you hold every unfolding in your hand. If pain finds me today, let me remember you are the healer. If confusion tries to drown my focus, let me cling to the clarity of who you are. If exhaustion pulls at the edges of my soul, let me find renewal in resting beneath your shadow. Let my courage today be quiet but unyielding. Let it be seen in the way I show up even when I am unsure, in the way I stay soft even when the world is hard, in the way I choose kindness even when it costs. Let it be felt in the strength of my silence, the gentleness of my responses, the steadiness of my hope. Let my courage not be about being noticed, but about being faithful. Lord, help me to be content even as I long for more. Let gratitude for what is not cancel out my desire for what could be, but let it anchor me in peace as I wait. Teach me to celebrate the small wins, to honor the progress that does not shout, to believe that growth is happening even when it is hidden. Let me not despise the small beginnings or overlook the daily miracles. Let me see your fingerprints in the mundane. And when I am tempted to look around and compare, remind me that I am not behind. I am exactly where you have me for reasons I may not yet understand. Let comparison lose its power in the presence of purpose. Let me cheer for others without questioning my own path. Let me rest in the truth that you write different stories with equal beauty, and mine does not need to mirror another's to be worthy. So I walk into this day with hands open and heart lifted. I trust you with the unknowns. I embrace the courage to show up anyway. I surrender the pressure to know it all and receive the gift of simply being led. And in every moment where I feel overwhelmed, I will pause, breathe, and remember that you are not just the God of answers, but the God of the present moment. And here, in this breath, I am already held. Father, as I continue to walk in the light of the day you have made, I carry with me the stillness that comes from trusting you, even when answers are few. The peace that flowed from yesterday's surrender has not faded, it has settled deeper into my soul like roots beneath the surface, quiet and unseen yet holding firm. And in this sacred place of quiet resolve, I come to you again, not asking for ease, but for endurance, for the grace to keep going when the road stretches long, when the weight feels heavy, and when the reward is not yet in sight. God, you are the one who walks beside me when the crowd disperses and the applause fades. When progress feels invisible and breakthrough is delayed, remind me that faithfulness matters more than finish lines. You do not measure my worth by how much I produce or how quickly I arrive, but by the posture of my heart in the journey. So I ask that you renew in me a spirit of perseverance, not just to run, but to keep running with grace. When my steps slow, let your spirit be the rhythm that keeps me moving forward. Lord, give me the grace to endure when the days blur into routine and the spark of excitement seems distant. Let me find beauty in repetition, holiness in ordinary tasks, and meaning in small acts of obedience. Teach me to view endurance not as survival, but as sacred participation in your purpose. Even when the results are hidden and the affirmation is silent, let me know that you see me, that you are pleased by my showing up, my staying present, my continued yes in the quiet, when fatigue settles into my bones, not just physically, but deep in the spaces where hope resides. Breathe new life into me, not with noise or grandeur, but with your still, small voice that reminds me I am never alone. Remind me that even Jesus needed rest, that even he withdrew to solitary places, not in weakness, but in wisdom. So teach me the balance between pushing forward and pulling back, between action and stillness. Let me find renewal not in distraction, but in communion with you. Father, when the path winds and my steps falter, let grace be the ground that catches me. Not shame, not regret. Is grace wide enough to cover my mistakes, gentle enough to lift me again? I do not expect perfection of myself, and neither do you. You ask only for honesty, for surrender. So when I miss the mark, help me to repent quickly, forgive deeply, and rise freely. Let failure never become my identity, but a reminder that I am being refined. Help me to extend to myself the same kindness you offer me, to speak over my own heart the same mercy you have already declared. Let my inner voice be one of compassion, not condemnation. And when I am tempted to strive for worth, remind me that I already carry your image. I do not have to earn what you have freely given. Let that truth be the wellspring of quiet confidence that carries me through this day. God, when I encounter resistance, whether in circumstances, relationships, or even within myself, give me wisdom to discern whether to press on or pivot. Let me not confuse obstacles with closed doors or delays with denials. Help me to lean into discomfort when growth is being forged there, and to step away when peace is no longer present. Guide my spirit to remain aligned with yours, sensitive to your leading even when it calls me to let go of things I once clung to tightly. Let me not be afraid of endings, for they too can be holy, just as the sun must set before it rises again. So some chapters must close to make space for what is next. Help me to grieve what needs grieving, to release what I cannot carry, and to bless what was, even as I walk into what is becoming. Give me faith to believe that your plans are still unfolding, even when the ink of today's story feels unfinished. Father, when people disappoint me or when love feels hard, teach me to forgive quickly and deeply. Let grace not be something I offer with reluctance, but a natural overflow of the grace I have received. When others fail me, remind me of the many times you have forgiven me. And when I am the one who has caused pain, give me humility to own it and courage to make it right. Let relationships become places of healing, not harboring. Strengthen my character in the secret places, where applause cannot reach and only you bear witness. Let integrity be formed not in the spotlight, but in the small, unseen decisions of my day. When no one is watching, let my choices still reflect your truth. Let my words remain gentle, my thoughts pure, and my heart tender. Build in me a quiet confidence that does not seek validation but rests in your approval. When I am overwhelmed by the pace of the world, help me slow down enough to notice the sacred, to see the sunlight warming the window pane, to hear the wind whisper through the trees, to taste the sweetness of morning coffee as a reminder that you are in the little things. Let gratitude be my anchor. Let it remind me that joy is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of God in the midst of it. Teach me to celebrate process, not just progress. To honor the middle, not just the milestones. Let me not rush past this moment on my way to the next. Let me pause long enough to be shaped by today. Because what you are doing in me is not just about where I am going. It is about who I am becoming. So today, I do not ask for ease, but for resilience, not for escape, but for the strength to remain rooted. I ask for grace to rise when I fall, for hope that does not flicker when night falls early, for a steadiness that cannot be stolen by changing circumstances. Let my endurance speak of a deeper trust, a trust that says, even here, even now, God is faithful. I offer this day not as a test of my strength, but as an act of surrender. I do not need to prove anything. I need only to walk in step with you. Let me take each breath with intention, each step with grace, and each word with kindness. Let my life today be a quiet declaration that I belong to you, that I am held, known, and sustained, and that in every moment you are enough. Father, as the quiet stillness of the morning continues to settle in my spirit, I feel the gentle echo of all that I have poured out to you in these past moments. Nothing within me is hidden from you, and still you draw near, tenderly, without hesitation. You see the depths of my heart, the weariness I carry, and the longing I can't always name, and yet you welcome me again into this sacred silence, where no words are wasted and no sigh goes unnoticed. I sense your whisper between the rhythm of my breaths and the beating of my heart, and it reminds me that you are not far. You are here, present in every inhale of surrender and every exhale of trust. Lord, in this moment I do not strive for answers, nor do I chase after clarity. Instead, I lean into the mystery of your presence, where peace does not depend on understanding, and comfort is not built upon certainty. I offer you my confusion, my impatience, my craving to control what is beyond my grasp. I admit, Father, that I often try to carry what is yours alone to hold, and I confess, with trembling honesty, that I fear letting go even when I know you are better at holding it than I ever could be. God, remind me again of what it means to trust you not in theory or in words only, but with the kind of trust that rearranges the posture of my soul. The kind of trust that lets me breathe without fear, even when I do not know what is coming next. The kind of trust that sees your hand in the dark when my eyes can't find the path. The kind of trust that lets me live today without rehearsing tomorrow's worries. Because you are already there in my future, in my unknowns, in the places I have yet to walk, and you are not worried. You are steady, unshaken, not in a hurry. And if you are not anxious, then neither do I need to be. I ask for strength, not the loud kind, but the quiet kind that keeps showing up when no one is looking. The strength to say yes to what matters and no to what does not. The strength to keep my heart open in a world that often rewards the closed. The strength to forgive, to stay kind, to hold boundaries without building walls. Let my strength look like love. Let it sound like patience. Let it feel like grace. Let it be deeply rooted in you so that it does not falter when circumstances shake me. May I grow strong in hidden places, where your spirit does the deepest work. Father, help me not to measure today by productivity, by accolades, by the visible results that this world calls success. Let me measure this day instead by the condition of my heart, how tender it remained, how open it was to your voice, how gentle it was with others, how available it was to your promptings. Teach me to redefine what a good day is. Make it less about accomplishment and more about alignment. Less about doing and more about being with you. Being faithful. Being present. If I forget everything else today, let me remember this: I am not alone. Even in my moments of isolation, even when the silence feels thick, even when no one else sees what I am carrying, you do. And not only do you see, but you stay. You do not flinch at my weaknesses, nor do you withdraw at my mess. You are the God who sits with me in the middle of the chaos and the calm, in the noise and the stillness, in the laughter and the lament. And that kind of companionship is a miracle I do not want to take for granted. God, may I be a vessel of peace today, not only receiving it, but releasing it wherever I go. Let my words carry gentleness, my actions extend compassion, my presence calm anxiety around me. Make me someone who brings light not by striving, but simply by staying rooted in you. Let those around me sense something different, not because of me, but because of you alive in me. May the peace I long for within become the peace I extend outward. And Lord, when I am tempted to fall back into patterns of worry, draw me back into this space. Pull me away from the spiral of what ifs and into the still waters of what is. Anchor me in what I know is true, that you are for me, not against me. That you walk with me, not ahead of me. That your love is not earned, but freely given. Let that truth be the steady ground beneath my feet when everything else feels uncertain. I thank you for the gift of this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. I thank you that I do not have to rush ahead or dwell behind. I am here, and so are you, and that is enough. Whether today is filled with beauty or burden, let me move through it with the assurance that I do not walk alone. You are my refuge, my compass, my portion, and in that truth I find rest. Let the light that rises with this morning continue to rise in me slowly, faithfully, steadily, until I begin to see the day not just with my eyes, but with a heart that knows you are in it. Lord, as the quiet light of morning continues to unfold, my soul lingers in the refuge of your presence, where yesterday's burdens begin to loosen their grip, and the uncertainty of tomorrow fades beneath the weight of your peace. The stillness does not demand performance, only presence, and here I am learning how to simply be. You are not a taskmaster measuring my worth by output, but a Father who delights in my return. No matter how scattered or silent I arrive in your company, I am reminded that love precedes every accomplishment, and that grace does not wait for perfection before comes to rest on my shoulders. You have carried me gently from the H of the night into the hush of a new day, and though the world may already be stirring in its familiar rush, I hold on to this moment with you as my first breath of sanity. Before noise, before demands, before decisions, I find you waiting, not with a list, but with a welcome. And something in that quiet hospitality calms my racing thoughts. I do not need to earn a place at your table. I am already seated. The invitation came not through merit, but through mercy, and I accept it again, not because I am enough, but because you are. God, help me move through today with the memory of this stillness stitched into my spirit. Let every hurried step be slowed by the reminder that I walk not alone. In my meetings and conversations, in my distractions and decisions, let me return to this center where you reign not with force, but with faithfulness. You are not merely present in the sacred hours. You walk with me through the mundane, the messy, the repetitive. You are equally near in grocery store lines and traffic jams as you are in whispered prayers and holy places. Let me carry this awareness like a light that softens everything it touches. Father, where I am prone to anxiety, fill me with steadiness, not the kind that denies emotion, but the kind that holds it in compassion. When I am tempted to control what is not mine, remind me again that surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. You do not call me to carry the weight of every outcome, but to walk faithfully with what is before me. Let me be diligent without being frantic, present without being distracted, faithful without being consumed. Free me from the false gospel of hustle, and anchor me in the truth of enough. Give me discernment today, not just in big choices, but in the small ones that quietly shape who I become. When to speak and when to listen, when to act and when to pause, when to lean in and when to let go. Let my instincts be shaped more by your spirit than by habit or fear. I do not want to move automatically, missing the sacred possibilities in ordinary hours. Make me attentive, not paranoid, responsive, not reactive. Let wisdom rise in me like a steady stream, not as the result of overthinking, but as the fruit of abiding. God, create in me a soft heart in a world that often rewards the hard. Let my kindness not be mistaken for weakness, but be known as the strength that it is the kind that chooses gentleness when harshness feels easier, that offers patience when anger wants to speak first, that forgives even when the apology never comes. Let me not be consumed by proving a point or defending myself in every misunderstanding. Teach me the grace of restraint, the freedom of letting you be my defender, the power of walking away from battles you never asked me to fight. May my joy today not be tied to external ease, but to internal alignment with you. Let it rise even when the day holds tension. Let it breathe through moments that feel too heavy. Let it laugh without guilt and rest without shame. Let it be rooted so deeply in your love that even storms cannot pull it out by the roots. And when joy feels hard to find, let me at least remember it exists, that it is never lost, only hidden, and that in time, like the morning sun, it rises again. Lord, I bring to you the people I will encounter today, the ones I love easily, and the ones who test me. Teach me to see them as you do, not as interruptions, but as invitations, not as projects to fix, but as souls to honor. Let my words be seasoned with grace, my reactions clothed with humility. Where others bring chaos, let me bring calm. Where others carry hurt, let me carry hope, not because I am better, but because I am yours, and you are peace itself. Protect me, God, from the traps of comparison, which dim the beauty of my own path. Let me not measure myself against highlight reels or harsh voices, but return to your gentle truth about who I am. I am known, I am loved, I am called. Let that be enough. Let that be my anchor when insecurities shout and confidence falters. Let me stand, not in arrogance, but in quiet assurance that I am created with purpose and held in promise. As this day unfolds, remind me that progress does not always look like forward motion. Sometimes it is found in stillness, in learning to rest, in choosing not to respond to every provocation, in breathing through the urge to panic, in showing up even when I feel empty. Let me recognize growth in the unseen, in the silent victories no one else applauds. Let my soul be more impressed by integrity than visibility, by character more than recognition. And as I return to the flow of daily responsibilities, I ask that you stay at the center. Don't just bless my schedule, reshape it. Don't just help me endure the hours, redeem them. Let every errand become an altar, every task an offering, every conversation an opportunity for connection or healing. Let me walk slowly enough to notice beauty, to offer gratitude, to say I love you, to whisper thank you. Let this not be a day I rush through, but one I live in fully with intention, with presence, with you. Let the morning's hush carry its imprint into the hours ahead. Like the lingering scent of something sacred, let my heart remember what my words may forget, that you are near, and I am never alone. Father, even as the morning matures and the sun climbs higher, my heart remains anchored in the quiet stream of your presence, flowing from the peace of the previous moments into the unfolding grace of now. What began as a whisper between us in the early hush has become a current gently carrying me through the stillness, a sacred continuity that resists the pull of chaos. I do not want to lose this connection when the day grows louder. I want to remain here with you, even as I walk into the world, carrying this invisible thread of communion woven between my soul and yours. There is something holy in the way you linger when I give you space. You do not rush away when I grow distracted. You do not retreat when my thoughts wander. You wait not as one offended, but as one ever patient, drawing me back with gentleness rather than guilt. That is why I can breathe again. That is why I trust this stillness to shape me. You do not demand perfection before extending presence. You simply remain, and that alone makes me want to stay near. In that steadiness, I am relearning what it means to be loved without needing to earn it. Lord, as I begin to engage more fully with what today holds, I ask that you place your rhythm beneath my own, guiding the cadence of my thoughts, the timing of my responses, the posture of my heart. Let me not move faster than grace allows. Let me not push past the moments that matter most. Help me choose attentiveness over efficiency, presence over performance. Let this day not be reduced to a checklist of accomplishments, but lifted as a living prayer each task, each conversation, each breath infused with meaning because it is shared with you. Give me clarity in the hours to come, not necessarily answers to every question, but the kind of quiet assurance that allows me to walk even when the path is uncertain. Make me content with one step at a time. Let me embrace the mystery of what is not yet revealed, trusting that you have already gone before me. I do not need to see the full map when I know the one who holds it. You are not withholding direction out of cruelty, but leading me into deeper trust, into a pace that is shaped more by faith than by fear. God, in this growing light, let gratitude remain my default posture. Let me not be numbed by the familiar or dulled by routine. Let me see beauty in the ordinary and wonder in the repeated. Teach me to notice the miracle of a breath that returns unbidden, of sunlight warming the same sidewalks I have walked 1,000 times, of voices that still greet me, of hands that still work, of eyes that still open to color and sky. These are not small gifts. They are the quiet evidence of your mercy, the signs that life, even in its simplicity, is saturated with grace. Let love be my language today, not the soft kind that avoids truth, but the strong kind that holds both compassion and courage. Let me speak in ways that build rather than bruise. Let me listen not just to words, but to hearts. Let me respond not from ego, but from empathy. Where I encounter coldness, let me not mirror it, but warm it. Where I feel resistance, let me not retreat into silence born of fear, but speak with clarity shaped by kindness. You are love itself, and I ask to echo that love in every space I enter today. Remind me, Father, that my worth is not tied to how others perceive me. Free me from the burden of people-pleasing and the fear of misunderstanding. Let me be more concerned with being faithful than being liked, more anchored in purpose than applause. Teach me the freedom of integrity, the kind that does what is right even when unseen, the kind that rests easy because there is nothing to hide. Let my character not be shaped by circumstance, but by the quiet consistency of walking with you, one step at a time. God, protect my mind from spirals of overthinking and loops of self-doubt. When my thoughts begin to race, help me return to breath, to presence, to peace. Your voice does not shout in anxiety. It speaks gently through assurance. I want to recognize that voice more quickly and follow it more faithfully. Let your truth be louder than my fear, your promises steadier than my assumptions, your presence nearer than the noise that surrounds me. Let peace be my home, not just a passing visitor. Let forgiveness flow freely through me today, not only as a gift I receive, but as one I extend. Where bitterness clings, help me release it. Where offense lingers, help me loosen its hold. I do not want to carry the weight of resentment through this day. It slows the spirit and stifles joy. Show me how to forgive even when justice feels unfinished. Show me how to bless even those who have wounded. Let mercy be my instinct, not my exception. For as I forgive, I become more like you, and that is the transformation I long for most. Fill the quiet spaces between moments with a heightened awareness of you. In the pauses between tasks, in the transitions from one place to another, let me hear you again calling me back. Centering me, reminding me of who I am and who you are. Let the ordinary not erase the sacred. Let the routine not drown out the revelation. Keep my soul awake, even when my body moves on autopilot. Let joy surprise me. Let hope catch me off guard. Let beauty break in where I least expect it. And when I face disappointment today, when plans fall through, when people fail, when I stumble in ways I hoped I would not meet me there, not with condemnation, but with comfort, not with shame, but with understanding. Let those moments become altars of grace, reminders that failure is never final in your kingdom. Let them soften me, not harden me. Let them teach me to lean more deeply into your strength and to walk again, not discouraged but refined, not defeated but realigned. Lord, may the path of this day unfold not according to my striving, but according to your quiet shaping. I do not need to know how everything will work out. I just want to walk through it with you. That is enough. That is the anchor that holds when everything else shifts. That is the joy that no one can take. That is the light that guides me through even the most shadowed valley. As long as I can return to this place of presence, of communion, of trust, I am never lost. Let me end this morning not with closure, but with continuation. Let this prayer stretch beyond words and into choices, beyond this moment and into all that follows. Let it ripple into the people I meet, the rooms I enter, the decisions I make. Let it be a thread that weaves through every corner of the day, quietly proclaiming that you are here and I am held. Lord, as this quiet journey of morning reflection draws near its final steps, my heart remains open to the gentle currents you have stirred in me. From the very first breath until now, every word has been an unfolding, not of answers neatly packaged, but of trust being built one whisper at a time. You have not required perfection of me, only presence. And in that, I have found a sacred rhythm, a grace-filled beat that echoes through my soul and reminds me that every new day is not just a repetition, but a resurrection of hope. God, I sense your nearness in ways that words cannot fully name. It is in the subtle hush between thoughts, in the moments when I stopped striving and simply listened. You have not hidden yourself in grand gestures, but revealed your beauty in the smallest awakenings. In the warmth of sunlight inching across the floor, in the way stillness wraps around me like a soft shawl, in the recognition that the very breath in my lungs is evidence that grace still flows. I carry no burden to impress you, only a longing to walk beside you with more openness than I did yesterday. There is something transforming about beginning the day with you, not in a rushed ritual, but in a real encounter, something that changes how I see the people I will meet, how I carry the weight of uncertainty, how I forgive the wounds that still pulse beneath the surface. There is a shift happening not in the world around me, but in the way I engage with it. I am learning to respond instead of react, to listen instead of assume, to wait before I speak. And all of that is not my own doing, it is the quiet fruit of being in your presence long enough for my roots to soak in something deeper than ambition. I confess that part of me fears the return to noise, the rush of schedules and conversations that demand answers faster than peace can settle. But I hold on to this stillness like a compass, trusting it will guide me back when I start to drift. Let every inhale remind me I am not alone. Let every exhale be a surrender to what I cannot control. This day may not be perfect. It may not unfold the way I expect, but it can still be good, because you are in it. That is the assurance I need. Not flawless outcomes, but faithful companionship. Father, I release the pressure to perform. Let me be fully present instead. Let me be faithful in the unnoticed spaces, in the tasks that do not gain applause, in the kindness no one may acknowledge. These are the sacred offerings you see. These are the moments where heaven touches earth, quietly, without fanfare. Teach me to live from that hidden well, not needing validation, only intimacy with you. That is the reward worth seeking, not status, but surrender. Not perfection, but peace. Not applause, but the steady whisper of your love saying, I am here. Remind me throughout the day that prayer does not end with the final word spoken. It continues in how I move through life, in the way I hold a door open, in the way I speak to the tired cashier, in how I forgive the person who does not say sorry, in how I comfort the friend who is afraid to ask for help. Let these simple moments become sanctuaries. These common hours become altars. Let the sacred invade the ordinary until there is no division between them, until every part of my life becomes a hymn rising to the sky. There will be moments when I forget this peace, when I am drawn into comparison, competition, or self-doubt, when I feel small in the eyes of others or unseen in the noise of the world. But even then, whisper truth to me. Even then, anchor me again. Let the truth I have absorbed this morning return like a steady tide, not shouting, but gently pulling me back to what is real. Let me remember that I am already chosen, already loved, already held, that I do not have to hustle for what has already been freely given. Even now, as these final words settle on my lips, I feel no ending, only continuation. This prayer does not close like a book, but opens like a path inviting me to walk forward with reverence, courage, and wonder. And for those who have walked this journey alongside me, I offer gratitude that runs deeper than language. You, who paused with me through the hush of every chapter, who allowed this sacred rhythm to shape your soul. You are part of something holy, a communion of quiet seekers, a fellowship of hearts turned upward. Thank you for giving space to silence, for allowing peace to settle where noise once ruled, for trusting the stillness to carry weight. Your presence in this journey has made it fuller, richer, more real. I pray that what began in quiet will echo loudly in your day, not through volume, but through power, the power of kindness, the power of presence, the power of a life surrendered not to chaos, but to calling. If this prayer has touched your heart, I invite you to share your thoughts or your own prayer below. Let this become more than a monologue. Let it be a chorus, a space where voices rise in hope and faith together, where burdens are shared and light multiplies in community. And if this journey has renewed something within you, consider subscribing to this channel. Share this prayer with someone who may need to hear it. Let it ripple beyond the screen and into lives that are waiting for a word of peace. Let your faith continue each day, not only in words spoken here, but in every moment you choose love over fear, hope over despair, stillness over striving. May your mornings begin with trust, and your evenings end in rest. And when you rise tomorrow, may grace greet you once again like the first breath of dawn, like a soft breeze brushing through the trees, like a stream winding quietly through the hills, carrying you into the embrace of another day gently lit by light that never fades.